Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left her off the ballot. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
The Miami Dolphins allegedly want to make a long-term commitment to Tua. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Somehow we are matching today. Literally, wearing the same thing.
I mean, we're becoming that old couple who wears matching windbreakers on the boardwalk.
Are we starting to look alike? Oh, this is crazy. Anyway, if you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. But let's listen to Chris Grier. He's the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. Tua's coming off of the only season, Perloff, that he's been able to start and finish healthy. He ended up having a great season. The Dolphins were leading the division until about 3 minutes left to go in the regular season. Everything was coming up roses for the Dolphins, despite some big injuries on the defense they had to deal with. So now the question is Tua going to get paid?
We've been in communication since the offseason began. I'm going to talk to his agent here this week. So our goal is to try and see if we can get something done. Ryan's been great, Tua's been great, so we'll see. But there's no timeline on it, because at the end of the day, you know how these deals get done. They're complicated deals, and building the team through free agency as well. So we'll work through it and see if we can get something done.
That's not exactly a robust commitment. And to be fair, the Dolphins have been very much behind Tua. I mean, Mike McDaniel, the coach, is always very positive about Tua. It's a stark difference from Brian Flores, who they fired, partly because I think the support of Tua. And, this is a wait and see. Tua's going to play on the 5th year of his rookie deal, which pays him about $23 million. And some very smart people in our industry are projecting a 4-year, $220 million contract extension for Tua. That would be $105 fully guaranteed, $165 million practically guaranteed. Would you do it?
I would not do it, but I mean, there's, by the way, a lot of Joe Shad and Armando Segura, the big Dolphins reporters, both said they're going to do $50 million on him. It's happening. It feels like that ball is rolling down, and it's a mistake, because who is Tua? If you pay him $50 million and all of a sudden he doesn't have these high-priced targets around him because you can't afford them, who is Tua? What's the point of? I don't get this formula for the Dolphins. Say they do, 4 years, $50 million a year. You're not going to be able to keep Jalen Waddle. Tua is great because he's a point guard on this incredibly talented team, and I just don't see how this formula. It feels like this is going to be the next Kyler Murray contract to me, where you're going to pay a guy maybe 3 years. You're going to be looking at another quarterback, because I think Tua needs so much talent around him to succeed. And I don't see them being able to work all this. I'm not quite sure where Miami is. I think they're in a really tough place.
Well, here's the question. Is it 1-for-1 necessarily? Like, wouldn't they have to account for this as you're watching Tua? He's your 5th overall draft pick. So, when you take somebody that high, aren't you thinking, hey, if this all works out and goes great, we're going to have to pay this dude.
Yeah.
And now it is going well. You don't have a ton of, healthy seasons in a row. But when he had to stay healthy, he did learn how to protect himself. Yeah. We never talked about him with concussions this entire season. And he was 2nd in the league in passing yards and has this super high QBR. Now, I don't think it's a 1-for-1. I don't think you pay Tua and all of a sudden you have to say goodbye. Tyreek Hill, they've already paid him. I don't think you have to say goodbye to Jalen Waddle.
Well, they said this week that they want to hold on to Waddle. But think about the Chiefs. I mean, they couldn't keep Tyreek Hill. Once you pay your quarterback $50 million, all sorts of things happening. It's not just Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. There are a lot of other positions here too. It's going to hurt you at some time. I know the salary cap went up, but it's going to hit you at some point. And I'm thinking about their coach, Mike McDaniel, came from San Francisco, where they paid Jimmy G. That didn't work out. And then they drafted Trey Lance really high. And then they settled on Brock Purdy. You have such a strong system in Miami. My point is you might not have to pay a quarterback $50 million to make this offense awesome. So I might try and go year by year in some fashion with Tua. You have him under control next year. Then you could tag him if you wanted to. You could tag him again and get expensive. I would go as short term as possible and maybe even draft a developmental guy behind him to see, hey, can we create our little San Francisco here with Mike McDaniel as the head coach?
Okay, interesting if you draft someone behind him, but here's the thing. You're expecting, if you're the Dolphins, that the seasons are only going to get better, right? You're expecting you're going to have more and more success. This is not a rebuild. You're in an all-in situation. You're trading for Bradley Chubb. I mean, you're trying to put the nail in the coffin here. And this is what happened with the Dallas Cowboys and how they ended up screwing themselves about Dak Prescott's contract is because, well, theirs was because Dak got hurt and they realized how valuable he was to the team. But the more success you plan on having, the more the quarterback puts himself in a good position to get paid. So
no, you're absolutely
there's
right
like no
about
middle class too with the Dolphins. So if I were Tua's people, I would say, okay, you don't think I have any leverage. You want to go this year by year. Who are you bringing in who's going to replace me, who's going to be this middle ground? You know, unless it's draft and develop, which sends a really different message to your fan base. And you're not in position to be drafting anywhere close to high. So
I'm talking second, third round, fourth round.
Okay, but that's a lottery ticket.
So not a lottery ticket.
That's a crapshoot.
Well, you have a great offensive coach. Look at what the Eagles did. They had Carson Wentz. They actually paid Carson Wentz, but then they went and got Jalen Hurts in the second round, in part to hedge. Wow, if this contract doesn't work out with Carson, I got someone right behind me. I would like to see, and Brock Purdy with Jimmy G, or with Jimmy G, Trey Lance. I like get a Spencer Rattler, get a Sam Hartman, bring in somebody, see, hey, is Tua this unique? Can someone else run this offense? The other thing, you talk about leverage. Who wants Tua besides the Dolphins? That's the question. Is anyone else paying $200 million for Tua Tagovailoa?
You know, I don't know, but I bet he would have a market.
This kind of, like an elite core, I don't think he has a $50 million a year market elsewhere.
Okay, but, he might not. Daniel Jones just got 40.
I know, because on his own team, and people are looking at that as one of the worst contracts in decades.
Okay, but you're asking, is there someone out there? I'm telling you there is.
I don't think so. I don't think there's somebody's bringing in Tua from the outside, because they're going to look at him and say, he's awesome when Tyreek Hill is running under his passes, but is he going to come in here and do that with my offense?
Well, here's the thing about Tua, though. You mentioned like point guard. He has that potential, right? That's the thing about Tua. That's his superpower, the accuracy.
Yeah.
You know, he does have the potential, and he's better than Brock Purdy. So he's like a super.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know. He's not as mobile as Brock Purdy, but okay.
Maybe not. Well, he's also really protecting himself. Like, I think they're telling him, do not put yourself in any kind of harm's way. Meanwhile, Brock can play a little loose, like, a little bit looser. We'll put it that way, even though he has that elbow injury he had last year. We can talk about that another time. We're talking about Tua
but it's an
right
interesting
now.
Comparison, but yeah.
Right. I think that you're looking at who's available right now in the open market, if you will. And we're looking at Russell Wilson, who we expect to get cut from the Broncos. You're looking at Kirk Cousins, whose contract is up in Minnesota. Who else? Like Baker Mayfield? I mean, when you start getting into, okay, how are we going to replace this guy? All of a sudden, your options really dwindle.
Right, but none of those guys, except maybe Kirk Cousins, are going to get $50 million a year. I mean, no one's paying Russell again. Right. Nobody's paying, who's the other quarterback you mentioned?
Like Baker or someone like that.
Not going to be in that class. So that's where Tua belongs, back with Baker, $35 million a year. But it seems like the Dolphins are headed down this road where they're going to make him one of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks. And I just think that there's got to be, somebody's got to stand up, Maggie, and stop paying these quarterbacks. Someone's got to do it.
Who's it going to be? It's not your team. It's not my team. Nobody has the stones to do it, because the best way, or easiest way, not best, the easiest way to get fired is to have no quarterback. Yeah.
But I do think that Miami's an interesting case, because I think they have leverage, because I don't think Tua is as hot a prospect as some of these other guys. Because I think the general view of the NFL, or maybe this is my view, is that Tua is very specific to this offense. And he's a great fit for Miami, but he might not be a great fit. Just take the Broncos or the Raiders. Even, short QB master Sean Payton, I don't think he wants Tua. I don't think Tua is getting $200 million anywhere else, which gives Miami some leverage. We have to, maybe, Maggie, that should be our mission, create a quarterback middle class, which is still fine, by the way. It's nothing like the real
30
middle
million.
class.
It's not exactly the middle class.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right calling it middle class, but I just feel like this could come closer to Kyler Murray. I think they sign this contract, if they do get it done this offseason, we're going to look back in 3 years and say, man, Dolphins really screwed up that Tua contract. I worry that that'll happen.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. It looks like we're paying off some kind of bet today, and we're not. We just happen to wear the same thing. It looks like there's something more going on, but there's not.
But I mean, you can read the tea leaves. It seems like somebody's getting tired of wearing blue and red Buffalo Bills colors and wants to come over. Philadelphia Eagles was impressed with Howie Roseman's scouting combine interview, sees the writing on the wall that, you want to be part of the Super Bowl celebration next year, maybe.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't pick out my clothes with my teams in mind. This one, I don't know. I just...
Which makes you an outlier in this building because 90%, I was walking around the halls. It's like a who's who of who I like.
I know Colton today is rocking the Michigan uniform. Anyway, if you want to come hang out with us, let's go. 855-212-4CBS. We talk about Tua and whether the Dolphins, do you get this done now? I do. Quarterback salaries aren't going down, guys. They're not going down.
No.
So
sure.
Here's the thing. You sign the guy now for the 4 years, $200 million, and then you can manipulate the numbers in a way you want. You start getting into the franchise tag, those numbers are just set in stone. This is the cost, and this is what it is on your dead cap, and this is what is on your cap. You don't have any flexibility with that. You sign a guy for 4 years, $200 million. You can do this in any which creative way you want. Signing bonuses, roster bonuses, front load the contract, back load the contract. You got to get a little magician, like Murray the magician who we met in Vegas. You got to abracadabra this thing.
Yeah, that all sounds exhausting. If I'm a GM, I'm like, you know what?
That's
I don't have the energy to do this. Let's look at the draft. Because I honestly think you could draft, I know that Spencer Rattler, the South Carolina quarterback, seems to be red hot for some reason, but draft him in the second round, sit him behind Tua, put him in practice and see if, hey, can someone else throw the ball to Tyreek Hill? I think I could throw the ball to Tyreek Hill. Look at all the quarterbacks who've had success. It's not just, well, actually, no, it's Patrick Mahomes and Tua. But I think that system with Mike McDaniel could be a new Niners, and they could find a cheap quarterback.
That'd be something. 855-212-4CBS. Let us know what you think. You want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, where Perloff and I are wearing the same thing. And it's not just that we're wearing the same color. It's like the same degree of like fancy. Yeah, like it looks like we're both going somewhere after the show. Did
you notice that I was getting dressed this morning and I've been wearing mostly hoodies and
that's why I thought with a blouse I'd be cool.
No, I know. And I had a V-neck sweater. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wear a nice shirt today. I'm going to be professional. I have no interview or anything. Like there's nothing going on.
You're interviewing for another job.
I was like, this is what adults dress like. I'm like, I'm going to dress like an adult. I'm not going to dress like I work at CBS Sports Radio today. And it turns out we had the same notion.
Same instinct. I know. Mine was just clean. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's all.
Like groping around at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, I can't put too much thought into this.
With this shift, you don't pick out your outfit the night before?
I do. I have an idea of what's clean. So I'm like, all right, that's on my radar and that's on my radar. And in the morning, I make a decision.
Got it. Every second is critical in the morning. So you got to be really smart about this.
I've never been more efficient in my life than with this shift.
I got to tell you, there are moments when it's 4:35 or something and I can't find socks where I will just outright curse the universe. I don't know. You guys.
Little things can trip you up.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it is bad. 855-212-4CBS. We love doing it. 855-212-4227. Okay, we get it started with Tua. We also have some sound from Antonio Pierce. We have quotes from Antonio Pierce. What did he have to say about the Raiders quarterback position? This one we found extremely interesting. That's why we put it right near the top of the show. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Maggie, I have multiple morale boosts for you today.
Oh, yes.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff Show. The Combine, they start running today, so Carlos and I came up with a musical theme, hype songs.
Oh, yes. And I love this one because you know it's from my favorite Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky 4.
Yeah.
We couldn't remember it was 3 or 4. Hearts
4.
on Fire.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't run through a wall after Hearts on Fire. But I have another.
This would be my walk-up song.
Yeah.
If I was a professional.
No, it's too good. Because if you don't hit a home run after this song, if say you
Right, you can't go for an 0 for 3 day with this song as your walk-up.
Can I just like chug a beer though? I could do anything.
even an infield single on Hearts on Fire is a large disappointment. Okay, the other one, and this is for Pete Bellotti and Maggie Gray. It is not Mets related. It is 80s comedy related.
What?
They just announced the new Naked Gun will be released July 18th, 2025, starring Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin. Whoa!
Wait, what? Hold on. This is the first I'm hearing about this.
Yes, it was just sort of announced last night.
Wait a minute. Liam Neeson?
Yeah, he's going to be amazing.
Is someone getting kidnapped on a train in Europe somewhere? This is going to be terrible.
Well, he has a subtle, dry sense of humor.
He's unbelievable.
Does he?
Have you ever seen the Ricky Gervais skit where he does improv with Ricky Gervais in shorts? It's one of the funniest. He's hysterically funny. He's going to be amazing.
Why doesn't he do comedy?
He's sort of been moving towards comedy subtly. He hasn't done a movie, but he's
subtly in his
he's
spare
done a lot of
time.
sketches.
He did Ted. He was in Ted.
Yeah, he's done a lot. He's done a lot of sneaky comedy in the last 5 years. He's going to be amazing. He's so serious. I mean, Frank Drebin, Leslie Nielsen was totally serious for the first half of his career as well.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I only know Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
They're bringing back Naked Gun. Is our society, are we ready for that right now?
Yes.
I feel like I know we need it.
Yes.
Goodness knows we need a laugh. I just don't want this. Naked Gun, it's like you have to do some really not PC jokes to make that sort of work. Is this going to get canceled by the left or the right? Are we going to get woke maggot? Like, is someone going to come in and ruin this is what I'm asking. Like I guess I am.
I got to be honest. I think the canceling time has passed. I think it's 2024. It is not 2022.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're past that.
Yeah, I don't see this being a problem. In fact, I think there's going to be an appetite for this kind of. By the way,
we could use a laugh right now.
Un-PC things, like he left his mic on in the bathroom. I don't think that's offending the left or the right.
He's on top of Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. I must kill the queen. I don't know that.
Would Reggie come back? Oh,
wow, you're not going to bring
Jackson.
back. If you brought back OJ, that would be a radical move.
That would not be peaceful. Nordberg is out of jail.
Yeah. Bringing back OJ, maybe that's a little too far. But have you guys ever seen the Naked Gun series on television, the old one?
No.
So it's Leslie Nielsen, but they did this thing where at the end of every episode, they would freeze. So, like, it's an old cop show thing. And they freeze, except the actors would have to be still for about 2 minutes. And inevitably, one of the actors' nose would itch or something. You're sitting there watching it like, wow, this free with the credits running. It's amazing. Oh, God.
They could freeze frame back then?
Leslie Nielsen, I believe, he's 84, so maybe he'll show up in it. It's going to be amazing. If it's coming out July 2025, they must have shot it already or come close to
I think Leslie Nielsen is gone.
I was like, Leslie Nielsen, I think he passed away.
Oh, shoot. He's long gone.
Right, from the top. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I saw 84. He died.
Naked Gun
That's what we have
reboot
dump
coming
buttons
out.
for.
He died.
No, that would be on PC if they brought him back. At this point.
AI?
Oh, maybe AI.
Hologram?
Like the Tupac hologram in Coachella.
Leslie Nielsen, eating pistachios and throwing the shells out of the car. They can't get out.
Wow, this is
hard to explain those jokes on the radio.
This is going to be good. I think there's a whole generation who doesn't really know the airplane movies or that kind of humor.
Oh.
They're going to love it.
Oh,
I'm
my
so
daughter. I'm seeing this in theaters.
My daughter has seen every Wayans Brothers scary movie, though. They know the Wayans sort of took the torch, and she doesn't even know what they're based on. She thinks that's what horror movies are.
Yeah, right. The Wayans Brothers, it's a similar kind of thing. It's
very similar.
Very rapid fire jokes. A joke like, they had a formula for, I remember this for Seinfeld and for some sitcoms, 3 jokes per minute is like the formula. And I feel like Naked Gun was keeping pretty close to that.
Yeah.
In movie form.
It seemed like I was laughing every 3 seconds in that movie.
By the way,
is great.
I'm so excited. You're right. This is a total morale boost.
Let me read a very promising sentence for you guys in a write-up of this announcement from yesterday. The currently untitled project will be directed and executive produced by Akiva Schaffer, who co-wrote the draft script alongside Dan Greger and Doug Mand, reprising their partnership from the Emmy-winning film Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Right.
Oh, no.
So the people that brought you Chippendale Rescue Rangers are doing Naked Gun, which means it's gotta be good.
I'm a big fan of Dale.
Oh, no.
I was always more of a Chip guy.
Wait a minute. Where are the Zemeckis?
Wait.
The Farrelly brothers and stuff. What?
No, Akiva Schaffer is the man. That's awesome.
He's with
The Lonely Island. Yeah, he's perfect. The other guy I just mentioned, he did 4 of the scary movies. David Zucker. So he actually did those movies with the Wayans brothers. He's got to have a role.
And I think Seth MacFarlane is producing this one.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane. That's the other guy in it. Yep. He's unbelievably funny. This is going to be
Seth MacFarlane. Okay, I'm in.
I think you're going to love Liam Neeson in a funny role.
Is it coming out tomorrow?
July 2025.
We'll be here before we know it.
Waiting so long.
No, it's cool. I'm okay. I'm okay with that kind of build-up. Because it's a leap year this year, so we get an extra February day today. Drats.
Because we all love February.
I know.
Today's the 29th.
I know. Why don't we just have a 12-month-a-year calendar?
I agree.
I mean, 13. Sorry, we do have a 12-month thing. I mean, 13. Then everything would be way more, mathematically sound.
What would you call the 13th month if you can choose the name right now?
Carlos Tober.
So
I like it. Sign me up.
Carlos in for EJ, by the way.
You guys know any leap year birthdays? My daughter's best friend leap year. And last night I was watching the game. Tyrese Halliburton is a leap year birthday, so he's turned 6 today. He's 24.
Guinness Book of World Records.
That's a big thing. Like, can you imagine only having a birthday every 4 years? Because that's crazy.
Although
right?
now that I get older, I'd love it.
Yeah.
Let's just skip a couple years.
So Tyrese Halliburton, wish him a happy 6th birthday today.
Man, this is so good about the Naked Gun. Thank you for bringing this to our attention today.
Now we got to get Airplane again.
Are they going to do Enrico Palazzo?
Have to. They have to have some throwbacks to the.
Yeah, you have to give us like a couple little nuggets here, but you can't do the same joke.
You can't because of the time, and also you can't. A lot of those guys like George Kennedy and
they're gone.
They're gone. So you got to do something new. So I can see this being very successful.
Do you think that instead of Frank Drebin was pretending to be an umpire to try to find who was going to kill the Queen in the plot of Naked Gun from 1988?
Earmuffs.
Sorry to spoil it.
In case you didn't watch it.
They saved the day. Does he become like an NFL ref or something?
Or
an
NBA?
Super Bowl. Yeah.
NBA ref.
NBA ref. That'd be great.
And honestly, athlete cameos were a big part of Naked Gun because of Reggie Jackson, that is, but also because all the broadcasters.
Right.
Remember they had the scene where they had
Dr.
25
Joyce Brothers.
Dr. Joyce Brothers.
Broadcast team of all time.
So I'm looking at the time. The last Naked Gun was 94. This is very interesting. And OJ was still part of the cast. That was getting close.
That was the Academy.
That was getting close.
That's one buzzer to beat, man.
It was June of 94 is when the murders happened.
Yeah. So, and they came at the Naked Gun 33 and a third. I don't know why they called it that. Came out March 18th, 1994 with OJ
in it. Gosh.
Time.
No.
I'm sure if you look back at the jokes, they're probably not PC.
I think Anna Nicole Smith is in that
Yeah,
one.
she was the girlfriend, and Priscilla Presley was still in it.
That third one.
Priscilla Presley is still looking great.
Yeah, I was wondering if she
She'll
make
probably
it back.
A cameo.
She's in some legal battles, I think, now, too,
Maybe.
over some estates.
By the way, anybody watch that movie?
Shocker.
Priscilla?
No.
Oh, my God, that is a weird movie. Do you know he started dating her when she was 13?
Yep.
Okay. Hello.
At least they weren't related like Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, you could do a lot more in the 50s. Anyway,
Do not throw to an update right now.
yeah. And Sofia Coppola's late. It's really well done, but it's a really weird story. Anyway,
Bogusch
Naked Gun.
Hey guys, great to see you. Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. LeBron James outscored the Clippers by himself in the fourth quarter last night, 19-16. He also had 4 assists.
LeBron to Russell. Three-pointer. Good! Timeout Clippers. Lakers 114. Clippers 108.
John Ireland on Lakers radio. The Lakers were down 21 early in the fourth. They win 116-112. LeBron finishing with 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 dimes.
Just a zone that you just can't really describe it. You wish you could stay in it forever, but obviously it checks out, as the game ends. But, during it, you don't feel anything. You just have a superpower, I feel.
It's a superpower.
Does this qualify that he gets a rest or comp day after this?
Well,
now?
they do have a game tonight and then Saturday, so you'd think tonight's not going to happen.
Do not buy tickets for that game.
I was going to say, LeBron's not going to play for a week now. I mean, it was really impressive, but that's it for the spring.
Kind of disappointed because I really want that big Clippers collapse to come in the playoffs, and this is an early sneak peek of what we're about to see.
It's a what you call a rehearsal.
Rehearsal for a game 7 down the road.
Well, that's why I was really surprised. I'm like, man, the Clippers have never blown a lead this big. Like, I figured everything bad has happened to the Clippers.
Just Doc. He'll tell you.
He saw it coming.
That's why he left. And sad but true, this is the last Laker-Clipper game where they're roommates. Because the Clippers have their new arena next year.
Last regular
with all the
season game.
toilets.
Yeah, unless they play in the playoffs.
Right. But
Do you think that toilet
Probably.
thing is going to work?
Oh my God, it's gonna be the best stadium ever. I'm actually gonna fly out there just because there's so many bathrooms.
Maybe on your drive to San Antonio, you could flip over to California.
Just if you really have to go, we got to really move it.
just hold it for 36 hours until you get to the Intuit Dome.
And then it'll be more like the movie Dumb and Dumber than it was Naked Gun.
By the way, I am
Talking about comedies.
still working a way to get into the Garden tonight because Steph's in town. So
Yeah.
I actually have many feelers out for someone to take me to the Knicks game free. If anyone's listening and has tickets, I'm totally down for that.
What about your foot doctor?
Yeah, I don't know how to approach Doc about. He already gave me the Lakers game. I can't ask him for the Warriors game, but I have another friend who has a box.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, if anybody in who wants to go, sorry, Maggie.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not
Maggie
allowed in the building.
bad. Yeah, sorry.
Say bad
Awkward
things about
topic.
the owner.
Yeah,
Maggie can't
awkward
go.
topic.
I
EJ's
stand by
sick.
it.
Would you take me at this point? Or is Baladi
I'm
next?
good.
Okay.
I'll go. We'll talk all Liam Neeson the whole time.
At this point, Perloff won't even go to lunch with Bogusch, let alone drive to San Antonio.
I think I'm an okay person. Now, this is starting to really hurt.
I know.
And get into my psyche.
I'm so sorry.
Because we see each other in the break room over coffee,
Yeah, we have
chit-chat,
talk
college
about,
this,
like-
basketball that. And
You
now-
should see what he says behind your back.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a lot of Dave Matthews slander.
I politely get a low-level Division I college basketball update in the morning every day from Bogusch. Oh, come on. Get out of
It's
here.
called a
Doncic.
mid-major, sir.
Do you really think I would rather go to the Knicks game with Bellotti, who...
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a great time.
I believe it.
It says both
Actually,
wives.
I've been
Oh, come on. Come on.
I've been with Bellotti to the Garden.
That's right. Smack down.
Went to a WWE event.
And
Had
that's
a
why you can't go
blast.
back. You're self-banned. You're just using the other guy as a
I was like, I'm
cover
good.
story.
Most famous arena ever? I'm all right.
Pete's going to be there? I'll pass.
Signing autographs.
Listen, there's just not enough room for me, him, and 18,000 other people.
Can't keep everyone together. No.
Luka Doncic had 30 points, 11 boards, 16 dimes last night. On his 25th birthday, his Mavs winning in Toronto 136-125. The Cavaliers losing in double OT in Chicago 132-123. DeMar DeRozan scoring 35. We will never know what could have been. The Jets' only problem this season was McCole Hardman not panning out. Had the free agent wideout done his job, maybe it would have been Gang Green beating the Niners in the Super Bowl a few Sundays ago.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
That was the
right.
only thing that went wrong.
Hardman is now talking about the quick divorce, and the Jets don't like it.
I tell you right, I was so checked out. Like, it's over. I already talked to Veach and Pat. Like, hey, bro, come get me, boy. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are we talking about? Like, man, come get me.
That was Hardman on Ryan
Relax.
Clark's The Pivot podcast saying he had been talking to Patrick Mahomes saying, come get me. So the Jets may or may not think that's tampering. We don't know yet if they've actually filed an official
They
complaint
better.
with the league.
They better file it. That's ridiculous. He's talking to the other team.
What do you think you're getting for this if you file this grievance? One of the Lombardi trophies? You're not
Pride.
getting anything.
We're getting pride.
Pride. Meanwhile, the other story was that he might have been sharing game plans with the Eagles and with the Chiefs. Ironically, two of the better games that the Jets played this year.
Why would anyone want to sign this guy?
Yeah, that's not good if that's true. That was a
Wow, get
report
outta
from
here.
SNY.
You think the Chiefs care? The teams that benefited will sign him. Right? That's the...
No, but it's just like that's someone who's leaky in the locker room. All of a sudden, he's upset and he's leaking a game plan. Are you going to be next?
I kind of think that the league-wide is kind of anti-Jets, too. Like, watch, the NFL came down hard on the Patriots. I feel like they're not going to help the Jets out in this case. I don't know why. I get the sense that they don't love the Jets.
That's the Jets' luck, though.
Because McCole Hardman, right, former Georgia guy, gave the Eagles. I'll take him. Put him in with the Georgia. Did that really concern you guys? You think it'll hurt his market because he gave this up?
I think it's a bad look if it looks like you're disgruntled, so you're sharing a game plan. Maybe this happens a little more than we think if guys are really that upset with their team. Like, hey, by the way, we're going to be running all cover zero. I don't even know what they would say.
Now, he was on the team, right, when he shared this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book is to sign the cut player and bring him
Well,
in.
that happens all the time,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
in the division. But
The Bill Belichick special.
yeah,
Right,
Bill
because
does that all the
well,
time.
my only argument is there's no no one has a problem with that. So this one, he just happened to still be a Jet when he shared them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference, right?
Also, was he downloading the playbook and sending it to them, or the game plan? Like, hey, here's our first 15 scripted plays.
I'll bet you there was a lot of gray area. He's probably like, watch out for the run on second down or something. Do you really think he gave a game plan? And right, the Jets won both games.
Well, maybe if he has like some kind of trick play. The Jets didn't win the game against the Chiefs.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No. But if they're gonna say, hey, they're actually running, flea flicker. If we're somewhere inside the 40 and I don't know.
I mean, the way he was going, it should have been like, don't cover me. I'm not going to be in. They're not going to throw it to me because he was completely useless.
One catch.
Yeah, don't sweat me, guys.
Really, they didn't need the Jets playbook on offense. They were hideous.
Hey, speaking of that, the Jets have given Zach Wilson permission to seek a trade.
Oh, yeah.
The
all
other
right.
31 teams have since changed their phone numbers.
Yeah.
Men's number
Not their wives, though.
Yeah, my wife gave me permission to go try and date a supermodel.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
How's it going?
This is it's the same as Zach Wilson seeking a trade.
Can he get traded back to college?
Who calls me first, Emily Ratajkowski or the Broncos?
Yeah.
Can he get traded to a Real Housewives cast of Salt Lake City or something?
Yeah.
It'd be a perfect spot for him.
Men's number 5, Marquette roughed up Providence 91-69, but stud point guard Tyler Kolek left early with an oblique injury. And Caitlin Clark, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists. Number 6, Iowa routing Minnesota 108-60. Clark now needs just 18 points to pass Pete Maravich for the most overall points in NCAA history. Pistol Pete, of course, scored his points in just 83 games without a three-point line. Did they not play defense?
Yeah. Why? Somebody just said, guard this Maravich guy.
McCall
Seems to
Hardman.
be scoring 50 points a game on us.
He's leaking that to
Yeah.
Auburn.
Hockey last night, the Oilers beat the Blues 3-2 in overtime. Connor McDavid had the game winner, snapping a 10-game goal drought. Guys, back to you.
That reminds me, I've told this joke before. The Sandler's opening joke of stand-up for years was about Will Chamberlain scoring 100, about Will Chamberlain going up to Will and saying, hey, I'm open, Will. That just reminds me of Maravich. Like, what was like the other guys on the team are like, hey, Pete, we're wide open. Everybody's covering you.
Gonna pass it? No, just checking.
They just played defense. They never crossed half court.
That's right.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Sorry about that. 855-212-4CBS. Coming up, we do have that Antonio Pierce sound for you. What did he say, the Raiders coach that is, about the future at quarterback? You'll hear it next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Theme song from The Naked Gun. They're bringing it back with Liam Neeson. I didn't realize Liam Neeson was in an episode of Atlanta. I've got to go back and watch that.
Liam is, watch the Ricky Gervais sketch. It's one of the funniest, most obscene, unpolitically correct thing. Basically, Ricky Gervais is teaching him how to do improv, and he's too serious and he can't figure it out. That's why he's perfect, because you have to play it dead straight to be, he's got to be perfectly into his character, and I cannot wait.
It's true. Leslie Nielsen was the ultimate straight man. Okay, we have some football to get to, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce gets elevated from the interim coach to the full-time head coach, and here's what he had to say about their search for a quarterback.
I would hope whoever we draft, that's the route we go. If that's who the starter becomes, and if it, again, I'll go back if it's Aiden or if it's somebody we draft or we bring in, you don't want to put a Band-Aid at that position. That's old, man. That's old. I think the Raiders, we've seen that enough in this organization. And I know we had Derek Carr here for a bunch of years, but before him and after him, it's been a bunch of one-stop guys. And I don't think any organization wants that. You want the face of your franchise to be the quarterback, to be that guy you can count on for the next 2 years.
Right. So you don't want a Band-Aid at the position, Perloff, to me, and the Raiders are picking 13th in this draft. That takes Russell Wilson out of the Raiders to me. I don't think if they're saying you don't want a Band-Aid and you want something more long-term, I think that takes Russ out. I think that takes Kirk Cousins out. I don't know if Kirk Cousins was ever in.
Yeah.
But that takes any of these guys to be floating around out. So
that's good for Russell Wilson, good for Kirk Cousins, because I do not know where this team is going.
Yeah.
You have the same problems you've always had with the Raiders.
Yep.
I can't put I'm not there, what exactly it is, but it seems like there's front office issues here.
A lot of turnover.
Well, no, I mean, come on. It's Mark Davis. Antonio Pierce is in a tough spot.
He is in a tough spot, but, I mean, if you're picking 13, unless you're planning to make some moves, right, with Tom Telesco now as your general manager, so you get a retread general manager who's been in the division for a long time with the Chargers, And now you have an arranged marriage between him and Antonio Pierce. I don't love how this is all shaping up.
Why would you? Yeah.
Because I like when the general manager gets hired and then they have a say in hiring the head coach. Like, you want these two people kind of attached at the hip so that they don't start, turning on each other at the first sign of trouble.
I feel like you could get Eric DeCosta and the best coach available, the best GM, best coach. It does not matter. The Raiders have bigger problems. It does. I'm saying we're swaying the details here. This is honestly, Antonio Pierce would have been better coaching somewhere else. This is not going to work. If they draft J.J. McCarthy, say the Michigan quarterback at number 13, I feel like they have no chance to make it all work.
Okay,
there's no second contract there.
So, but here's my thing. We talked about this yesterday about Tom Telesco, the GM, saying Davante Adams is a Raider. He's a Raider, and do you believe it? And I said, no, I don't believe it, because to be honest, if I could get anything for Davante Adams, I want to trade him because I do want to start over.
Why would you want a second? Yeah, but a second round pick is not going to make that big of a difference. I could argue
it might.
The second round pick for the Raiders. When's the last time they were good?
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't think you're winning anytime soon, then what is Davante Adams doing on this roster? And what's Max Crosby doing on this roster? You have two guys who are on Hall of Fame tracks. Why would they be on this roster if this is such a big and going to be such a gigantic rebuild? I don't get it. They're the two guys who just don't make any sense. Like, why are these two dudes here? Because they like living in Las Vegas? Like, there's a lot of cool places to live in this country.
Yeah, well, I do think Vegas. So they haven't won a playoff game since 2002 when they went to the Super Bowl and got beat by the Bucs.
To be fair, Derek Carr got hurt the last year they went to the
Regardless.
when they went to the playoffs. And then they lost to
they should have
they lost to the
Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah.
Carr blew it on the last drive.
Yeah, I just do not see this as a franchise that is on the door. So I understand what Antonio Pierce is saying. It makes perfect sense. But who are they getting at 13? They're going to get the fifth quarterback. It feels like, if I'm a Raiders fan, that sounds good, but in reality, I don't think it's going to work.
Well, you got to try something because, listen, Derek Carr was a second-round pick who ended up starting for them for almost a decade. It might not have to be right there at 13, but again, I don't know if I trust the Raiders here. I know that you and I are probably in lockstep on that, so I don't know why you wouldn't do fire sale and just make this thing totally, down to the studs here. Also,
they hired Luke Getsy, right, as their offensive coordinator.
Right.
Who, to me, did not do much in Chicago. So that's another reason.
And didn't get along with Fields, apparently.
Yeah, that's another reason to be a little skeptical of what's going on there. I think Antonio Pierce seems like a fun guy to play for. Seems like a great defensive coach. But for that to work, you need a lot. You need a really strong offense and you have a defensive head coach. And to me, the whole formula is messed up in Raiders. I feel like they're going to be in limbo between 6 wins and 9 wins for a long time, unless something radical changes. And to me, drafting this is not enough. They might need to just completely bottom out and draft a guy maybe next year, get a top 3 quarterback.
I'm assuming we all think Josh Jacobs is gone. I guess the one thing that Antonio Pierce does well is he's a culture guy, right? He's the tone setter guy. He'll become the face of the franchise, absent, some big time quarterback. And I think that's what the guys liked, right? They were like big on his vibe.
Sure.
Because as we learned yesterday from the NFL Players Association report card on all 32 teams, nobody hated their coach more than the Raiders hated Josh McDaniels. This is the biggest indictment of the front office and the brass, was just how dreadful and terrible Josh McDaniels was. I mean, they could not get this guy out of here fast enough.
Yeah, that was an easy vote. Honestly, if you'd asked us before that poll came out, who's going to finish last and being liked by the players, I think we might have both guessed Josh McDaniels.
So this NFLPA put out this report card. Yeah. They're doing this now a lot more often, it seems like. This one was based on August through November of this past year. So this is when Josh McDaniels was still the head coach of the Raiders, obviously. The issues raised by the players, including poor scheduling, time efficiency during the weekend while traveling, a need to improve trust and respect for players from the head coach, and a need for a better approach and winning culture. I mean, what else do you do around here if you don't have, if you can't run the organization well, the players don't respect you, and, you need a better approach for a winning culture. I'm going to be honest. The two guys who got in this NFLPA report card, and we'll talk more about this coming up, but the two guys who seemed like they got some of the lowest marks for coaching were Josh McDaniels, who literally got the lowest.
Yeah, but was he already fired when they answered this?
No, he was still there. August to November.
August, and when did he get fired?
Early December, was it?
Okay.
And also Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
Bill Belichick was second to worst as far as coach. 31st overall in terms of efficiently use of the time, and 31st overall in terms of willing to listen to the locker room. How about that? I was very shocked that Bill Belichick didn't get hired this cycle, and I was not alone on that. A lot of people believe that he's still a really good coach, and how could these teams pass on Bill Belichick? But he got second to last on this coaching survey, and his top offensive coordinator through the years got dead last.
Right, but
this is a terrible combination.
Well, no. I don't think you can indict Belichick for that because he was hated by his players for 20 years and won 6 Super Bowls. So, I mean, our friend Ross Tucker always said every single player in New England was miserable.
Yeah.
But he was there for the height of the dynasty. So I don't think being disliked is necessarily, that's a badge of honor in a way too.
But then why don't you think Belichick got hired this cycle?
Oh, because I think no team wants to bring in a guy who's going to fire everybody who's already there. I think that's why I didn't get.
But this is a decision made at the ownership level.
But in 2010, I'm sure Belichick would have been the least liked coach, right? I mean, everybody hated Bill Belichick. He's mean.
Well, he is mean. I think that his attitude had to have played into the fact that he didn't get hired. And again, and people I think were worried that Josh McDaniels was coming too, and everyone doesn't like Josh McDaniels. They just don't want to play for these guys.
Well, right. But I think that can work in a way for Belichick. You can be very, very unpopular and be a great coach. I mean, it's funny because Andy Reid's number 1 on this list, right? And he's a great coach. But I think Belichick would take that as a point of pride. Like, why would great coaches shouldn't be liked by their players? They should be feared and respected. Isn't that the old model?
Well, that's maybe an outdated model because I don't think the players on the Chiefs fear Andy Reid.
Well, is it an outdated model, or is there going to, will Kyle Shanahan or somebody bring it back? I don't know. I think that there's a lot of old school guys in the NFL.
No doubt.
But it is interesting. Everybody who's at the bottom of this list got fired. It's Arthur Smith. It's Ron Rivera. I feel like the guys who answered
Josh
this.
McDaniels, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like the players knew those guys were on their way out and gave them low grades. It shows you if your coach is in limbo or on the hot seat, maybe your players lose respect for you. I mean, because we all knew Ron Rivera was going to get fired, right?
Well, that's been a couple of years in the making.
And he's a very popular coach. So why is he at the bottom?
Well, I think sometimes his messaging got a little mixed up,
Yeah, here's one that surprised me. Kevin Stefanski was near the bottom.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And he's a great coach, according to the voters for Coach of the Year.
2-time Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
right?
So I think you can be hated and be a good coach. You think you need to be, that's an interesting thing. You need to be liked to be a good coach.
No, I'm just saying I thought that this was revealing because I was one of the people who thought Belichick was definitely going to get a job. And so the fact that he was this disliked by the players, and it's actually like a very cutting criticism when you say you're not being efficient with their time. Like that's more than just saying you're mean. That's saying like you wasted our time. We're doing a lot of things that seem superfluous here. And that would be the opposite of Belichick.
Yeah, I just think the players hated him. I mean, Tom Brady very clearly had issues with him, and he's one of the ultimate team guys. I think
Brady had a right to.
Yeah,
frankly.
Yeah, Belichick came out there during the Dynasty, the documentary we just watched on Apple Plus. He was screaming at guys all over the place.
Well, the screaming I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think he undercut Brady. He traded for Garoppolo. He wouldn't let Alex Guerrero in the building. Stuff like that, which really just like cut the knees out, I think, from Brady, or maybe was designed to make him feel uncomfortable.
Right, and it worked.
It worked. To the tune of the Super Bowls, yes, but you also alienated one of your best players. You could have had more Super Bowls.
I think it flat out worked. I'm not sure you could have more Super Bowls in New England. The roster ran out of steam.
Maybe trading for Jimmy G put a little chip on his shoulder that could have, like, quote unquote, worked, but not having his own personal trainer in there, I think, just pissed him off.
Yeah, but again, they won another Super Bowl. I don't know. I feel like he got an angry Brady. It's interesting coaching philosophy.
Meanwhile, the Raiders looking for a quarterback. Don't want a Band-Aid. So take that off the list for Russell Wilson. Coming up, can Justin Fields make the Bears regret their decision?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Getting even more clarity on the Justin Fields situation. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So this was some interesting sound from yesterday, a day after the general manager for the Bears, Ryan Poles, kind of said it without saying it, Perloff, that, they're trying to do right by Justin Fields. Yeah. This was not an impassioned, man, Justin's our guy, and we're riding with him no matter what. They basically told you, hey, we're going to try to do right by him. We're going to try to clear up any kind of gray area right away, more than insinuating that he is going to be traded.
Right. Once you put a trade into the ether, it's out there. Use just the media, but everybody now seems to think that they're going to trade Justin Fields, keep the number 1 pick, and take Caleb Williams.
So here was some sound from yesterday. We're 99.9% sure this is yesterday, right?
What do you mean?
The Justin Fields sound we're about to play.
Oh, no.
We're 99%.
Downgrade that number.
We're 98% sure that this is from yesterday.
I'd say 83.6 at best.
We're 50-50 on whether this is from yesterday because, as we know, the internet has come for us all. And it has fooled us all, and the internet is undefeated when it comes to fooling people. But this video is real. We know that. It's not AI. Justin Fields, let me paint the picture for you. He's in his kitchen. He's dressed casually. And you hear his manager say this. All right, so Justin Fields is clapping his hands. He's jumping up and down, celebrating. And the manager says, hope you're ready to go home. Now, again, we're 50-50 on whether this is from yesterday, but home, Perloff, presumably would be Georgia, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Kind of obviously connecting some dots here that he's going to be the next quarterback for the Falcons.
Right, and there was also, we mentioned yesterday, a local NBC Sports report that Atlanta is the front runner. This makes so much sense. Because Atlanta, I don't think, wants to draft somebody. They're going to miss the top 3 guys or a little lower in the draft. They want a young quarterback. They tried Desmond Ridder, did not work. Went to Taylor Heineke late in the year, did not work. So this is a perfect fit. I love this. I think Justin Fields is going to get another chance. He's got Zach Robinson will be his offensive coordinator, a Sean McVay acolyte. Those guys always seem to work, right? And then you have Raheem Morris, who's a very well-liked coach.
Yep.
Now, he didn't work his first stint as head coach. But Raheem Morris, who was the Rams defensive coordinator, seems like he's on the way up. I think this is a great fit for Justin Fields. If you're defending the Falcons, you got a really good running game. Obviously, we know about Bijan Robinson.
Sure.
And then you're going to have to deal with Fields. I'm talking RPOs here, Maggie, talking my language.
Yep.
This offense could be dynamic. They've invested a lot in defense. They're probably going to take a top 10 pick at defensive end. I think this things are looking very, very up in Atlanta.
For sure. And, if you ever look at those PFF grades or you go to the analytics, their offensive line gets graded really high as well.
PFF loves their offensive line.
They do. I don't know. But sure. Why not? So they have a lot of things going for them right now. And listen, as much as the Caleb Williams projections are through the roof, right? What is he going to be as an NFL quarterback? Is it going to be Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, the Patrick Mahomes comparisons? Yesterday, 2 days ago, Ryan Poles, the GM, saying that he's like Mahomes because there are artists and there are surgeons.
Mm-hmm.
2 types of quarterbacks. There's artists and there's surgeons. And Mahomes and guys like Caleb Williams are artists. And presumably that means Fields is more of a surgeon. I don't know.
No. I think Brock Purdy's a surgeon. Fields is definitely not a surgeon.
Well, he kind of made it seem like the artist is what you're going for, right? You can win with a surgeon, but the artist is somebody who is thinking about football in a different way where a surgeon's executing a plan.
Oh, I saw it as, that means on platform or off platform. Tom Brady was the ultimate, he was the ultimate surgeon.
Right.
And did he mention Brady? I mean, and Mahomes is the ultimate off platform. He'll spin around 3 times and find someone downfield. So I think an artist, I think a lot of coaches don't want the artist, right? You don't want your guy, Caleb Williams, he'll spin 4 times and try and find a guy downfield. A lot of coaches hate that stuff. So I think you're going to have to live with it. Mahomes, I think Tom Brady was the ultimate surgeon. 3 steps, boom. Sure. 3 steps, boom. 3 steps, boom. So I think that's similar. But that being said, I understand. Mahomes landed in the perfect place, Maggie. He landed with Andy Reid in Kansas City, had a year to sit. Caleb Williams is landing in the exact wrong place. Chicago, who's never had any success, unproven offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron, who I kind of like. But generally, I
potentially
think
a coach on the hot seat, Eberflus, depending how things go.
Exactly. To compare him to Patrick Mahomes, a lot had to go right for Patrick Mahomes to become Patrick Mahomes. And I already worry that things are not looking great for Caleb Williams in Chicago. I worry that this is just a wrong fit.
Well, you're fair to wonder, and that's not, even if I think that Caleb Williams is going to live up to every expectation, I think this is the Bears quarterback they've been waiting for. These things are cyclical. You can't ever say that a team is never going to have a quarterback or that they're always going to be bad or something, because we've seen it in the NFL. Even the teams that are historically bad get good again. Look at what the Detroit Lions just made to the NFC Championship game and should have been in the Super Bowl. Look at the Bills finally found a quarterback. The Browns, even like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Yucks, finally get their day. Everyone eventually gets their day in the sun, and I think this is the time for Chicago. But that doesn't mean that there's a non-zero chance that this goes really off the rails. I admit that.
I think he's going to be very similar to Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be a superstar. I think he's going to be an all-pro many times, but I don't think he's going to get to the Super Bowl in Chicago. Just like Luck, because there's going to be so many problems. Luck had that horrible offensive line to start. They finally built the offensive line. It was too late because he was too injured. Maybe that was just bad luck. I'm not sure. No pun intended.
Yep.
And then Trevor Lawrence has the same thing where there's uncertainty in the front office, uncertainty at the GM, which is exactly what Caleb Williams is dealing with Chicago. This is not a great ownership group. So I would just worry that I'm a huge Caleb Williams fan, not to mention the weather. It's a windy city. It's outdoors. I know that they might build an indoor stadium, but that's a long way off.
Sure.
It just, if I could pick a team, if I'm a huge Caleb Williams fan, this would be the last team. Not the last team. I would not pick this team.
Right.
I agree. I think they're going to find their quarterback. But even your guy, Josh Allen, hasn't won a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean, I think the expectation for Caleb Williams, he's got to win a Super Bowl, right? Otherwise, he's not going to reach his potential.
Well, yeah, Super Bowl is definitely the expectation, but that would be the expectation whether Justin Fields had been there before or not. But I think what's interesting about this with Fields and, and all the sort of tea leaves showing that he could be going to Atlanta could be good right away. I mean, that's not this,
like 10-7 good, 11-6 good.
But this could end up looking like Atlanta won the trade for the first couple years. It's possible because, we're going to be grading on a curve here. If Justin Fields makes it to the playoffs and wins a game, that's going to look better than Caleb Williams, struggles, but maybe that gets close to the playoffs the second year just because the expectations are so massive on Caleb.
I don't really think that's the case. I think people are savvy enough to know Justin Fields winning 10 games in Atlanta does not mean that Caleb Williams, I'm not sure he'll be, because Caleb Williams will probably throw for 4,500 yards and Justin Fields will throw for 3,700 yards. I think the numbers are going to look good for Caleb.
Yeah, but I think we tend to just kind of look at the wins and losses, right? Especially when, I know wins are not a quarterback stat, but we kind of do that anyway, right?
Well, yeah, but are people, Jared Goff in Detroit, I think everyone sort of kind of understands that he's got a great team around him.
He's going to get $200 million.
Well, nobody's comparing Jared Goff right now to Patrick Mahomes. I think everyone I think people are savvy enough to take into context the situation of the team. I don't think if Justin Fields, for example, goes 10-7, which I think he will, I don't think people are going to say like, ooh, the Bears are missing out on that.
No, this is kind of what I mean. Maybe this would be clear. People like me who put all these expectations on Caleb Williams, we're almost expecting him to be Superman. You laid out all the obstacles that exist just by virtually going to the Bears, right?
Yeah.
The years of history that are stacked against him, right? The fact they've never developed a quarterback. They don't do that there. They have no history of it, right? So all of these things that he's going to have to overcome, and he's going to just have to play well in a division that's going to be harder than what Justin Fields is doing. Justin Fields just simply has to be good. I don't think anyone's expecting. He doesn't have to win a Super Bowl. He doesn't have to be Superman. He doesn't have to do any of that stuff. And people will say, good trade, Falcons. You might have even won it. Whereas Caleb Williams has all these things that are kind of standing in his way to greatness. And we're still, people like me, still expecting him to be amazing.
I mean, if you want the blueprint, just look at Jacksonville. Because who are the two generational quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Trevor Lawrence since 9th grade, everyone knew. And Caleb Williams since 11th grade, everyone knew.
Yep.
These are the surefire number one picks. And I just feel like we know, do we kill Trevor Lawrence because the Jags aren't winning? Not necessarily, because we know that situation's bad.
Right.
So
and
I think the same
I still
thing's
think
gonna,
Lawrence could be great.
Yeah, he could be.
Yeah. I'm not selling Lawrence
But
yet.
if he's not, everyone's say like, oh, that's the Jags' fault. That's what's going to happen here. If Caleb is in the Super Bowl, everyone's going to say, oh, that's the Bears' fault. Because he's going to be great. I mean, he's fantastically talented, but it's just so hard to win there.
I don't know if he's going to get that same pass. I think that's where you and I are going to disagree. If he's not good, I think, because listen, they're going to give him every opportunity with every coach. Like, how many coaches would you cycle through with Caleb Williams before you would actually blame the quarterback? You know, like you're going to build the whole franchise around him.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, I saw something. He's going to be on his 4th coordinator this year. It's just a tough situation.
Yeah.
I think that everyone knows the history of the Bears quarterbacks. If this doesn't work, I think more heat comes on Chicago than Caleb Williams.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so that's what's going on right now. We've got this video. We're 50-50 on whether or not it's from recently. And it says, hope you're ready to go home. And we're connecting some dots. That means that Justin Fields is going to the Falcons.
Yeah, this makes so much sense. What's the other option? Kirk Cousins? I just feel like you're way younger and cooler with Justin Fields. Because I worry a little bit. You're investing a lot in Cousins coming off the Achilles tear, and Atlanta's got to stay young and build something.
I would agree with you. Although Kirk Cousins' wife is from Atlanta. Take that for what it's worth. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, coming up, this NFL Players Association survey that came out. Who got major thumbs up? Who got major thumbs down? We've got all of that for you. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by the new Hyundai Tucson, available with complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Now it's easy to use your phone to control your Tucson. All right, we're doing hype songs today on the Maggie and Perloff show. This sounds really familiar. I should know this. Is that a movie?
Push it to the limit.
Oh. What movie is this in?
Scarface.
Oh.
This is the rise. This is the montage when everything's going great. Cocaine is flowing.
There's an alligator.
Making money.
There's an alligator on a leash in this one, isn't there?
There's a tiger.
Tiger. Oh, a tiger, right.
Why is it every drug cartel movie has to have some kind of tiger? Because wasn't there a tiger in Goodfellas as well?
Is there a tiger in Goodfellas?
Yeah, they had the tiger was gifted to Al Pacino's character.
Goodfellas?
I'm sorry, was it Goodfellas? No. Oh, I'm drawing a blank now.
Oh, no. There was a zoo scene.
Donnie Brasco.
Oh, Donnie Brasco.
That's
I don't
what
remember.
it was. Yes.
Obviously, Mike Tyson in The Hangover got to have a tiger.
Yeah, it's like everybody has to have a tiger. But yeah, Lefty, who was Al Pacino's character in Donnie Brasco, was gifted a tiger by Sonny Black.
Yeah,
so
and
I know that movie way too well.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's deep down the IMDb.
Pablo Escobar had his own zoo in the backyard.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that in Narcos.
They escaped, right? Didn't a lot of those hippopotamuses escape?
Because whoever raided the compound and they all just went off into the woods. Yeah, no, I think if you're going to be a good drug dealer, you need a tiger.
Obviously. I mean, security. But yeah, that ascent scene from Scarface, like when everything's going well, and it's just like Al Pacino's like got a cigar, laughing, the money's getting thrown out on the table. It's always like the money counter, those automatic money counters that count cash. You can't be a drug dealer without one.
Oh, yeah.
That really glorified and did not glorify drug dealing.
I've seen that movie recently. Very 80s. It's not quite the cinema that I remember it being.
What tipped you off?
Well, I mean, I think it's on the AFI top 100 list. Like, it's known as a great critical movie. Brian De Palma, right? Or yeah,
because it's like thought of as an opera.
Yeah, I understand.
That's how he wrote it, but it's cheesy. The actual.
I don't think it's viewed as cheesy though, as much as it was cheesy. I think
had
it's
a
viewed
mountain
as
of cocaine on his desk that he was like snorting with his whole face.
Yeah, I think it's a critical. I mean, I think it was considered one of the great movies of the 80s, and I'm not sure it is necessarily. Well, you thought that you already knew it was cheesy.
It's so over the top, obviously. Like when you put it that, it's like some kind of opera, then it makes a lot more sense.
All right,
it's only archetype characters. There's no nuance.
Sure.
You guys just stumbled into one of my favorite topics.
What's that?
These Escobar hippos. They're called cocaine hippos.
Yeah.
And they're like out of control. And they actually have to, because they were just left whenever like the land was let go. They just
Abandoned?
roamed free. And they're recreating, and they're hippos, so they're mean. And they're like actually needing governmental action to stop these hippos from just wandering through Colombia and messing things up.
This is one of your
love
favorite
it.
topics.
Love it.
Wait,
Wild hippos that began with Pablo Escobar buying them for his property.
so they call them cocaine hippos, but they're not on cocaine.
No, it's not Cocaine Bear. These are just cocaine hippos because they come from
sequel,
him
by the way, coming out,
and
Cocaine
the
Hippo.
cocaine empire.
Liam Neeson also going
Yeah.
to be in Cocaine Hippo, along with Naked Gun, we found out, the remake.
But yeah, they're afraid of them multiplying too quickly and like overrunning this part of the country, and they're dangerous to humans.
So to Bogusch's point, Colombia last year is sterilizing the cocaine hippos.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So they can reduce.
Did he
that
have the
population.
hippos on the property as security? Like Dobermans?
No. He had an exotic zoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Did you guys watch Narcos? Any Narcos fans?
Yeah, for sure.
Great show.
I didn't watch it.
The one thing, that's the worst job in America, is sterilizing, or in Colombia, sterilizing an angry hippo.
It's bad there too.
Okay, how do you sterilize a hippo? That sounds like the hardest thing to do on earth.
Multiple tranquilizer darts.
You make it run the 40 at the combine in India and it falls on itself like Chris Jones. And
There's a terrifying episode of Octonauts where they run into some angry hippo. Anyone seen that one? Because hippos are very
They
territorial.
sterilize it? That's weird for a kid show.
Yeah, hippos are very territorial. So Quasi has to get through the hippos without waking them up. Octonauts, a great show.
They're doing that in Indy too.
yeah, I love that show too. It's another reason why we should go to the Knicks game tonight. But it's never
Oh,
gonna
now
happen.
you want in on the Knicks game?
Episodes of Octonauts.
What a show.
Well, that's because Perloff has these sick tickets, courtesy of his foot doctor.
No. I'm not doing the foot doctor tickets tonight. I'm doing
I'm
my
sorry, the
buddy's suite, which is also great. Sorry, Bogusch.
That's fine.
Carlos, what are you doing tonight?
I'm available.
The odds that Carlos was available were high, unless you were working.
No,
I feel like you'd
Carlos
be
actually
available.
does
You're a
way
big
more than
sports
any of
fan.
us.
Oh yeah, actually that's true, Carlos. You're way busier than all
Yeah,
of us.
Carlos,
what am I talking about?
your whereabouts are often unknown.
No, you can find me at any of one of my employment places. I'm always working. It's just a matter of where.
Yeah, exactly. But you are free tonight.
But I am free today.
Oh, good
Carlos
to know.
is like pieces on a chessboard. You know, never sure.
Multiple pawns.
Maggie, maybe you can come in some sort of disguise to avoid.
Thought about that.
Yeah,
Just bring a
the
mustache.
Dolan.
Yeah, people would believe I would have a mustache, right? I was thinking about that, and then I was like, well, the indignity of getting caught. This is like the cover up being worse than the crime. The indignity of getting caught trying to sneak into the garden with a disguise on is what I can't risk.
That'd be awesome. That'd
Just
be
to get
such a great visual.
handcuffed by I don't know who.
I'm not sure
security.
they would handcuff you exactly.
I imagine they grab the upper part of your arm, like a security guard, when they're just not messing around. They grab your arm and then
like
push you out of the street.
When Kyrie kicks people out of the stadium,
Yeah.
how's that work?
He points to somebody.
He points
and
at
then
the
a big person goes over and kicks out a drunk person.
I would. You guys ever seen Steph Curry live? It's really fun.
No, I haven't.
Dude shoots from far
Wink, wink.
away. So anyway, let's work on this. Do we know anybody? The foot doctor tickets are not available. We'll work on this, and maybe I can take all four of you and not Bogusch.
I'm a great time.
We could just tweet pictures of ourselves having a great time. That sounds mean. Bogusch, I would never do that to you.
Yes, you would. You wanted to take Pete to the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Yeah. Everyone does it to me. In
Yeah.
fact.
Actually, I guess I would do it to you.
Yeah.
Headlines?
No.
That, by the way,
Yeah.
Do it
that's
yourself.
not true.
Talk about your own
Pete do
news.
them.
That is not true, by the way. Maggie definitely wanted to bring you to the Super Bowl. Just so we're
That's
clear
true.
about it. That,
No.
She very much wanted to bring you to the Super Bowl.
When it was put out there on a microphone, she said Pete.
Well, that's just because I said I'd share a room with Pete because
Yeah.
we have the same taste in movies. So the TV's not a. There's like going to be no fighting over what we're going to watch.
I'm a great time.
Whatever. I'm just going to read news and leave. Enjoy that 12-school CFP bracket while you can and only be here for the next 2 seasons. Then further expansion reports said yesterday that 14-team idea is gaining traction. The exact format is unclear, but this setup would likely include multiple guaranteed spots for the Big Ten and SEC. The next round of discussions via video conference expected next week.
Quick question. Why do we need automatic bids at all? What are we, children on this playoff committee? Why do we need 2 ACC, 2 Big 12 teams? They're setting up such a dumb field of 14. How many is it?
14.
Such a dumb field of 14. I can't see. Why do you need any rules on this?
We haven't seen
Give me
12
one
yet.
reason.
We haven't seen 12 yet. Can we see if this works?
Yeah, they were. I agree with you, Colton, but they were never apparently stopping at 12. But here's why. Because we're not adults. Because the country was up in arms that Florida State didn't get in. And that last year to the 4-team college football playoffs. So clearly we do need some kind of automatic bid because everyone loses it if a team gets screwed.
Yeah, so you're going to keep, like, say, Ole Miss is number 11 in the country. They're not going to get in, so a 7-4 Pitt team can get in out of the ACC. This is going to lead down a bad road.
No, there's 3 at-large bids. So if Ole Miss really is that good, then they'll get an at-large.
Well, I'm saying they could be number 11, and there could be 3 SEC teams and 2 more ahead of them, and they'll get frozen out. Somebody good somebody who could potentially win the title is going to get frozen out by the system. 2 Big 12, 2 ACC, I don't see it.
Well, think about it. You can have 3 SEC, and then your 3 at-large bid could all be from the SEC.
Could be, but you know how these things go. And you could have, by the way, you could go 8 deep in the SEC and still be way better than the second Big 12 team.
Well, let's not get crazy.
I mean, the Big 12 is not great, Maggie.
Well, the Big 12 now has 45 teams in it, so we can't even name
really
all the
big.
members of the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm not. You're overconfident in the Big 12 and the ACC compared to the Big 10 and the SEC, I think, especially the way things are headed.
Kyle Filipowski cheated death on Saturday at Wake Forest, back on the court just 4 days later, making him the betting favorite now for NFL Comeback Player of the Year and NBA Rookie of the Year. Filipowski with 9 points, 10 boards, 6 assists. His number 10 Duke handled Louisville 84-59.
I did my best to stay on social media, like I said, stay locked in with the team, stay locked in with the guys, just focus on what's lying ahead because we have such a bright future ahead and we can do great things.
So he stayed off social media so he didn't see Maggie say to shut up, let people run you over. It's part of the game.
And that was the direct quote. Kyle Filipowski, shut up. No, I said, let them storm the court. And clearly he was fine. Although I checked the box score at halftime. I was like, ooh, he's at like 4 points. How's he look? And then I turned the game on and he looked fine.
Yeah, there is something to be said about him maybe putting himself in a little bit of danger in the collision and then leaving the court like he was Willis Reed to end up with no diagnosable injury.
Well, Perloff said, what is he going to? He can start punching people now. Perloff wants Thunderdome.
Yeah. Oh, someone's got to take a shot here. Especially, do you think people running on the court, if they beat Houston, those guys are big and strong.
Yeah, but Houston's not going to lose in the first place. You know that.
On the road in college basketball, anything can happen. I just think Kyle Filipowski, I have seen a lot of criticism, by the way, and smart people be like, dude, just get out of the way a little bit faster. Is it on the team that wins to hustle out of there and be really quick and nimble?
Well, yeah, but also that's a good point that Bogusch made, which is you have no injury, but you are being helped off like they needed a stretcher, like this was some kind of soccer flop or whatever. It was like Paul Pierce in the wheelchair. Turns out later it was just because he had to go to the bathroom.
Well,
he was angling for a yellow card.
Wait, but that was very specific. I mean, he tweaked it a little bit. No, nothing.
I mean, he didn't have to do no MRI, no X-ray, nothing. He was just sore. That was the official public diagnosis.
By the way, he had just played a game. So, it's not like you're out there, sitting, enjoying a lovely afternoon, reading a book, and then 10,000 people start storming the court. You're playing a basketball game. It's the appropriate time is what I'm saying.
So you're anti any policy on court storming. Keep it as is.
Yes.
I just think I'm still maintaining. Need a little control here. Oh, sorry. I was mic off for all that, for that brilliant take. Have a little security on the court storming. Just a little order.
Down
a little order here. Even if Kyle Filipowski can come out and play a few days later, doesn't mean that the next Kyle Filipowski is going to be tragedy.
No, Jay Billis wants to lock everybody up.
Yeah.
I heard Peter King, our friend, went on Dan Le Batard's show, and they asked him about it, and he said, kick them out of school. Kick them out of school?
Kick the court stormers out of school?
Yes.
That's a lot of people to kick out of school. I think you need the revenue.
They can use the Madison Square Garden software to like facial recognition all these students.
Yeah, just walk into a sociology class, like, you, out. Pack up your stuff.
The first Kyle Filipowski was Caitlin Clark. She had 33 more points in number 6 Iowa's 108-60 rout at Minnesota last night. Clark now on 3,650 career points, one more than Lynette Woodard scored from 77 through 81 when women's basketball was not a sanctioned NCAA sport. LeBron scored 19 fourth-quarter points as the Lakers erased a 21-point hole beating the Clippers 116-112. LeBron scoring or assisting on 11 of his team's 13 buckets in that fourth. He had 34 total points. The Nuggets down 12 early last night, then beat up the Kings.
Murray has it up the left sideline. Step back three. Yes, for Jamal Murray. He's just trying to kill any kind of hope here for Sacramento. He's got 32 points on 13 of 16 shooting.
Jason Kosmiski on Nuggets Radio. Denver, an early 12-point hold, then outscored Sacramento 68-22 over an 18-minute stretch spanning halftime.
Oh.
Yeah, not good. A 46-point differential in 18 minutes. Murray finished with those 32. Nikola Jokic had 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists. The T-Wolves alone atop the West this morning, breaking their tie with OKC with a 110-101 home win over the Grizzlies.
Ooh. By the way, our boys play tonight, don't they? Is it Chet versus Wemby?
That is true.
Oh, is that tonight?
Yes.
Oh, we should do a watch-along party.
I definitely need a big night out of Chet.
I should go to that game.
You need a big month out of Chet.
I think if he could beat him head-to-head, this would help me a little bit, right?
I think it's a runaway trade. Obviously, if you haven't heard, Perloff will have to drive to San Antonio to apologize to Victor Wembanyama if he wins Rookie of the Year, because Perloff called him Victor Wembustyama.
If Chet scores 25 and dunks on Wemby's head, which seems almost impossible because it's at the rim level, then I'm good, right?
No.
No shot.
You don't think so?
I don't.
You guys really
so.
don't think that Chet can make a big statement? I think it's tonight. I got to double check that.
And it's in San Antonio, where the Spurs are 5-21 at home. So
we should be at that game.
Honestly, the spread on this game is 10
Let's drive down there.
You better leave. I have a time machine. It's a 10.5-point spread. They're not even expecting this to be a competitive game.
And still, Wemby is Rookie of the Year, even though he can't win a single basketball game. Whatever.
He blocked another NBA player without jumping the other day. He just stood there and blocked him like he was a sixth
And that's
grader.
a positive or is that a negative?
Oh, that's a positive.
Well, it just says to me, well, you're so tall, you don't even have to jump. Like, then, you should be winning basketball games.
Well, and coordinated.
Well, he did not that coordinated. He didn't even leave his feet. That's less coordination. The jump up and block takes more coordination. I don't know. I just think that 11 wins, it's kind of weak.
I'm starting to dislike your wins argument more than Maggie's Chet's not a rookie argument.
Oh, I'm so right about this. And I was right about it with Ben Simmons, and I was right about it with Joel Embiid, and I was right about it for the 10 years I've had this take.
Bees what? Chet Holmgren is some old man? How old is Chet Holmgren?
He's gotten access to NBA
He's a
training.
second-year player.
Yes, training, care, lifestyle.
0 games.
Fine, but he's part of the NBA. He's in the union. Like, if you're in the union, that's a year of service. Can't be a rookie. I'm sorry, proceed. And I feel like I have to make this up to Bogusch. I feel like, what do I have to do we have to go to Disney World or something together? I don't know what to do. I don't want you to feel alienated on the show.
That's too late, it feels like. EJ's not here this morning at NBA headquarters instead, protesting the league's decision to not accept the Knicks' protest of that loss in Houston when Jalen Brunson was incorrectly called for a foul, which gave Houston the winning free throws. Colts GM Chris Ballard said yesterday that wideout Michael Pittman will be on their roster next season somehow. He did not commit, though, to using the franchise tag if necessary. That tag for wideouts valued at $21.1 million for the coming season.
Yeah, we interviewed him at the Combine, I'm sorry. And he is a baby emu.
Really?
Michael Pittman, yeah.
At the Super Bowl, yeah.
Super Bowl, I'm sorry. What did I say, Combine? Sorry, I got Combine on the brain.
Yeah.
At the Super Bowl.
In Indy, and for an Indy player, makes sense.
He has a farm, and he's got animals on it, and a baby emu had just hatched. And he showed us photos of it.
Amazing.
What else did he have on that farm?
Hippos?
He had a Pablo
hippos.
Escobar-like farm.
He bought one of Pablo Escobar's hippos.
And I think he's from Southern California. None of it made any sense. And he's very nice, by the way, and very tall.
Big farmer guy.
What do you get out of an emu? Anything? Like, does it do anything?
I don't think so.
Eggs. I think eggs.
Right.
Because he came out of an egg.
Right, but you're not scrambling emu eggs up in the morning, are you?
Why not?
French toast?
I think they are edible. I think people do go out of their way to eat emu
It'd be
eggs.
massive. Like having a dinosaur egg.
You don't got to worry about them flying away.
Wait, how big are emus?
Maybe the biggest omelet on
They're the
Earth.
second biggest bird. They're behind the ostrich.
I don't even think you have like
ostrich eggs
pots
are
and
definitely
pans
a thing too, right? People, that's a delicacy. You could order ostrich eggs.
Yeah, I would love to try both. Just have them side by side. Give me an ostrich egg and an emu egg, like right next to each other.
You want to do some kind of taste test?
Exactly. See what the difference are. I'm like, I can definitely taste emu in this one.
Would you do this Rocky style where you just swallow the raw egg?
Yes.
Ooh, you know what? Now we need 4 eggs. I need 2 of them cooked, and I'll do 2 raw.
You'll do 2 cooked and 2 raw.
I'll do 2 for the show. I will do 2 raw, 2 cooked.
I think hashtag Odyssey Lawyers, no raw eggs on the show.
All right, we got to run it up the pole for legal.
All right.
Yeah.
Just put it on the list.
You're kidding me. This company is so wimpy. You're telling me we can't eat raw eggs Rocky style?
We can't lose a Carlos off of a raw emu egg.
That's a great story.
Not for Carlos.
Look, that's content that writes itself.
Well, listen, if you don't start doing one-handed push-ups immediately after eating those raw emu eggs, then the whole thing was for nothing.
Carlos, of all the things you've done in your life, how much risk is there for a raw emu egg?
Little.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
This man served our country in the military, still does.
I was going to say, the enemy didn't get you, an emu egg did.
Just your luck.
Totally America sabotage.
6 NFL teams reportedly preparing a proposal to move the trade deadline from week 8 to week 10. They think that would create more moves and then more drama. And congrats to Shohei Ohtani, still the most secretive person in the world. I'm still not sure if we know what his dog's name is, but we do now know that Ohtani has taken a lover. There's now a Mrs. Ohtani. She is also from Japan. And that's all we know. No name, no nothing. However, there is apparently an interview coming out tomorrow with more details. So Ohtani, healthy, big contract, and now he's married as well. Letting us know on Instagram overnight with almost no information.
Yeah.
Not a coincidence.
This is such a funny post, too, because it's clearly written in Japanese and then just translated to English. And he just wrote, "To all my friends and fans throughout, I have an announcement to make. Not only have I begun a new chapter of my career with the Dodgers, but I also began a new life with someone from my native country of Japan who is very special to me, and I wanted everyone to know I am now married. I'm excited for what's to come, and thank you for your support."
Is the marriage deferred too?
It doesn't start.
10 years?
It doesn't start until 2034. It's great. He's got a hall pass for a decade, and then he'll settle down. Well done, Carlos. How many men would take that?
Would take what? The hall pass?
A deferred marriage. It's like, I know I got you in the bag for later, and we'll just meet up in 10 years.
I would have taken it the first time.
Then you'd just be coming home to roost right now. All right, well, that got really quiet. 855-212-4CBS. Nope, everyone happily married over here. 855-212-4227. Bogusch, thank you so much. Let's go to Tony. He's in Michigan. Bogusch mentioned the new proposal for the college football playoff in 2026. It's going to go to 14 teams, we believe. What's up, Tony?
Hey, this whole thing seems ridiculous to me. The problem we have right now is this was an exception, this playoff series that we just saw, but they're nothing but blowouts. You go to 12 teams, you go to 14 teams, you think you're seeing blowouts now. You get the number 1 team in the country playing the number 8 or 10 when it goes to 14. It's going to be 70-0 in the second quarter. It's ridiculous. It's not even going to be the only way to make this work.
You're telling me the number 10 team can't normally keep within 70 points of the number 1 team? Like Michigan, Michigan this year, what didn't really kill people like that, did they?
No, they didn't. But normally that has been the case. The number 1 team has blown out the number 4 team, what averaged nearly 4 touchdowns, taking the foot off the gas in the second half almost. These games haven't been even remotely interesting, especially the 1 and 4. A 1 and 8 is going to be a lot less interesting. And the only way to make this work is you can't have 130 teams competing for 12 slots because there's not enough parity. You've got to change. If you're going to change college football a little, you got to change it a lot.
Yeah. So what's the solution?
Talent.
Is the solution then, Tony? This is where we're headed. It seems, which would be 2 conferences, basically the SEC and the Big Ten. So what do you think that would solve it if you only took teams from the 2 biggest conferences and said goodbye ACC, goodbye Big 12? Because I don't know if that solves it either.
No, that's not an answer either. I think they got to leave the conference thing behind. They got to break this up into divisions, maybe 6, maybe the divisions of 12. Just remove college football from the conference format. Because right now, I mean, imagine the top 3 in the SEC and the top 3 in the Big Ten. Does anyone really think that Penn State or who's number 3 in the SEC? LSU? Maybe?
LSU. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they going to do? What would they do in the playoffs this year? Nothing. They couldn't beat any of the top 4 teams.
Wait. No, I think the SEC, those teams, LSU would have a chance.
Well, the way they played this, I picked them to go. They were a real disappointment, their performance on the field, and that's another problem. The ranking system, the way they pick teams, picking them randomly. I mean, look at the way they rate NFL teams in the first 2 weeks, and look at week 10 and 12, and look how they're rated. It doesn't work. It's an ebb and flow. It's a moving, living, breathing thing. You need a set format to make the playoffs. This guessing has got to go.
Right. So you want more how the NFL does it. You win your division, you get a guaranteed playoff spot, and then wild cards are just simply based on record.
If they're going to go the way they're going, I think that's the only way to do it. I would have been happy with an 8-team playoff and probably into the format they're on now. But when you get to 12 and 14, I just don't see how that's good football to watch.
Yeah, Tony, thank you. So I think Tony's bringing up 2 things there. One, just the watchability of the game, as he just mentioned. How many blowouts are we going to get? And then 2, how are we picking these teams that are getting to the 14 to begin with? And he's finding issues with both of them.
My issue is I'm looking at last year's final rankings. The second Big 12 team automatic would have been, I believe, Oklahoma State, who's 16, and the first one, if I'm correct, Arizona is going to be Big 12 next year.
Yeah.
So Arizona was to finish at 11 and Oklahoma State at 16. So that means Oklahoma State would jump up and get into the thing. So that means they have to jump a good school from another conference. And then the ACC, gosh, Louisville at 19 would be in, I believe. So just that's what I'm worried about, those second spots, because the ACC and Big 12 are very inconsistent. The ACC has been boom or bust. I feel like. But do you agree that they'd be blowouts? I'm curious about that. Like LSU, for example, almost beat Alabama. So if they're in there, they're going to be fine. But I could see some other schools maybe getting blown out.
Yeah, I think you are going to have blowouts in the first round. But
I think LSU, who's 12, could have beaten anybody.
But here's the thing. You get blowouts all the time in the NCAA tournament in basketball, and what do we remember? We remember the upsets. The upsets still will happen. It's just going to be infrequent. That's what makes them special.
Yeah, I don't know if there could be that many blowouts. I think NIL spread out the parity a little bit. Like Oklahoma's 15. They beat Texas. I'm not sure they're going to be blowouts. And he's from Michigan. Michigan's not blowing anybody out. Did they have any blowouts this year? Not really.
What was the final score of the Penn State game?
It was ugly. It was ugly. Trust me, they didn't throw the ball the second half. It was ugly.
Yeah, they're not a 65-7 team. Anyway, I think 14's fine. You want 8? If you do 8, you're going to do 12. You're going to do 14. It's going to be fine. It's all going to be good. It ends with great football games on TV.
It ends with a great playoff, potentially. And Tony has a point about blowouts. And I can't even guarantee you that. But it becomes just about the playoffs now. Okay, congratulations. You professionalize your sport.
As compared to most weeks where we're watching Alabama playing Morgan State or something. There's so many crappy weeks of college football early on. There's so many times Saturday night, like, oh, well, what am I tuning into? And it's like 25, it's like BC versus Notre Dame. I think the college football's regular season is not going to lose that much because it's already kind of weak in September. Nobody schedules anyone anymore.
Well, and they definitely won't after this. Thank you, Bogusch. 855-212-4CBS. More to get into on the college football playoff proposed format to move to 14. Haven't even done 12 yet. Sure. Also, a projection on Dak Prescott's contract with the Cowboys. We do that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Donut. He loves them. that sound. It's our Cowboy Quickie, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Welcome back, by the way. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay. A website that we all like, that a lot of people use in our industry for salary stuff, has projected, Perloff, some big quarterback contracts, okay? And what people could be looking at. They have made a projection on Dak Prescott. Would you like to hear?
Yes.
They're projecting a 3-year, $180 million contract with $119 million guaranteed at signing, with $169 million practically guaranteed. So 3 years, $180 million for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I was surprised by this because is Dak going to do a 3-year deal? That's so short term. That's like Kirk Cousins' deal with Minnesota, which means we could be dealing with more Dak. I thought it was going to be like some 6-year contract for $250 million where it's going to get expensive down the road. This is a lot more short than I thought. The money doesn't surprise me. They're stuck. They're going to have to pay that much. But 3 years is nothing because some of the other Spotrac assessments were much longer.
Well, Dak is 31.
Right, so 31. He's got 8 more years in the NFL.
Are we sure?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's your Cowboy Quickie.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, was Dak going to do that? I mean, he probably would for that money, but I figured Dak would want like a long-term contract, like most quarterbacks.
Okay, but if I'm him, in the way that this has been going with Prescott, he's always wanted shorter deals. And that's one of the big things he's fought Jerry Jones on, because how many bites at the apple has Dak Prescott going to get? Because he keeps signing these shorter deals and he keeps having the Cowboys over a barrel. We're talking, listen, I know it's $119 million guaranteed in this one, but 3 years, $180 million for Dak Prescott. So we're talking about $60 million a year. Just,
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, but 3 years is really short. It's great. I think the Cowboys should do it. I'm curious, and I'm not an expert at this. If you do 3 years, though, how do you prorate that signing bonus? Like, aren't you going to get hit really heavily, really short? I think the whole point of the Dak Prescott thing is so you have room to sign guys this offseason, right? So I thought you had to do like dummy years at the end.
855-212-4CBS. Our pal Big Dave's in Kentucky, resident Cowboy fan. Hey, Dave, good morning.
They should do it. You're pathetic. I mean, of course, on the Dak contract, I think they should do it. McLevin says, oh, God, he never changes. Listen, guys, y'all.
Wait, you don't think $60 million a year is fair for Dak?
I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Listen, on this, the NCAA football playoff thing.
New proposal. I'll reset it for a new audience. New proposal: 14 teams, 3 automatic bids from the SEC, 3 automatic bids from the Big Ten, 2 automatic bids from the Big 12, 2 automatic bids from the ACC, and 1 group of 5 automatic bid, and then 3 wild cards. Continue, Dave.
Yeah, the thing about it is, it's like you had mentioned. We haven't even got to 12 12-team playoff. They're already 14. Then it'll be 16. For those of us that have enjoyed college athletics our entire lives, soak this up, because in 6 to 8 years from now, you won't even recognize college football. And like Maggie, you had said, teams are not going to. They won't be scheduling anyone in September. It's the regular season. It's going to put so much emphasis on that. But here's the problem: the SEC, of course, is adding Oklahoma and Texas this year. They're already going to 9 conference games in 2026.
Yep. With
the possibility of going to 10 in 2028. So it's not like you can pad your schedule with the money to get in. And also, it's being professionalized from both sides as quickly as it can. How long is it going to be now before the players form a union and you have collective bargaining? And
it's happening, Dave. It's happening.
3 weeks.
Yeah, right. The Perloff says, wait 5 seconds, and that's what we're going to have. Dave, it's great to hear from you. And listen, this is how the powers that be wanted the sport to go. This is not the fans. This is the money. This is the money from playoffs and TV dollars drives this.
Honestly, the powers that be were 10 years behind on this. I think everybody wanted to expand it. and the powers that be wanted to hold on to the bowl game. So they actually kept progress at bay for a good 15 years. I mean, this started in the early 2000s. Everyone's like, why aren't you doing a playoff? They're like, because we love the bowl games, and they give us free trips and things.
Right.
So I think the powers that be have been really slow on this. Dave's going to watch. Dave's going to watch just like everybody. He can complain that old school college football is gone. The ratings are going to go through the roof, and he'll be front and center.
Coming up, it's Thursday at this time, which means we do the metaverse of Maggie and Perloff, explaining the what-ifs and what could-have-beens in sports. This one has to do with the NFL. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's a violin prodigy. Her full name is Maggie the Stallion. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Thursdays at this time, we do something called the Maggie and Perloff Metaverse. This is what it sounds like.
Exploring sports' biggest what-ifs and could-have-beens. Let's dive into the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff.
All right, Perloff. Today we tackle one of the big what-ifs and what could-be's in the future.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yep. Buy a hat and hold on to it. What if tomorrow, all of a sudden we woke up and you just hear and see headlines, the NFL draft has disappeared. It's gone away. Poof, it's gone.
Yep.
There's
Dun, dun, dun.
no more in a world. No more NFL draft. That's it. It's over. We do not select teams this way. If we woke up tomorrow and the NFL draft ceased to exist, explain what would happen.
Well, let me tell you right now, in 1994, Glenn Robinson was going to be the number one pick out of Purdue, big dog.
Yep.
And he threatened to boycott the draft system. And the NBA Players Association was big time behind this. They wanted to get rid of the draft because they thought it suppressed salaries.
It's not free market.
Right. So this is a metaverse, totally, but this is something that's possible. If the NBA or NFL draft ever actually got to the Supreme Court, you could easily see them saying this is monopolistic behavior. And the NFL is so particular about protecting their monopoly rights that they might say, okay, we'll get rid of the draft. So this isn't a crazy metaverse at all.
That's
and
true.
It could happen. I'm not sure if it happens overnight like that, but there could be a time when there is no NFL draft. So here's what I think would happen. This is my scenario. No NFL draft. It becomes much like college football, where it becomes a recruiting system.
Yep.
And then you see certain teams become the glamour teams. Obviously, one team jumps to mind. The Dallas Cowboys become the Alabama Crimson Tide of the NFL. So Jerry Jones, instead of being stuck with this terrible Dak Prescott contract situation, he knows that he's going to have the shot at the top quarterback because who doesn't want to wear the star? It's much like college recruiting back before NIL. I just think that everyone has the same basic salary structure. I think that you're going to want to go to Dallas. I think that he has already hired Lincoln Riley at this point, and that means that Caleb Williams is coming with him, and he's basically, he's always wanted Lincoln Riley, who's from Texas. Lincoln Riley's the coach in Dallas, Caleb Williams, and they get the top offensive talent every year, and they are perennial contender because they are going to out-recruit you in this new non-draft world. I also think the LA teams become elite because I think a lot of players want to go there. I think the Miami Dolphins get these elite players. I think you have more of a recruiting world than an actual draft world. And unfortunately, the good weather teams with the high glamour cities get an advantage here, led by Dallas.
Okay, so we're talking about the metaverse of Maggie and Perloff, which is what we do every Thursday at this time. We do a what if and what could have been. Today, it's what if we woke up tomorrow and the NFL draft was gone? What if it was just a free market where guys come out of college and it's just a gold rush, if you will, or a rush or recruiting to try to sign them? There's no such thing as the draft. Now, in your metaverse that you're created here, yes, the glamour teams would be Dallas, it'd be LA, it'd be Miami. But what if those teams are already filled? Like, not everyone's going to want to go there potentially, because if I can start in Green Bay or if I can start in Minnesota, I'm still going to want to go to those teams. I don't know if you'd have the if it would be so tilted only in those couple teams' direction.
So if you're an elite wide receiver in high school and you look at Georgia and you look at the University of Minnesota, which one are you going to? So that's the only, it is the, you're absolutely right. And actually with NIL, that dynamic is changing and it's spreading out the talent. But Georgia and Alabama used to be able to go 4 deep with 5-star recruits. So I do think that you're going to, all you need is a little bit of a bump. You get a little bit of a talent edge just because players are going to want to come play for these glamour teams. You get a lot of marketing money, just like college football. I'm not sure that this might hurt the cold weather teams. I mean, really, if you're Caleb Williams, Minnesota is indoors, so it's nice. But if you have a choice between the Cowboys and the Vikings, I think you're going to go for the marketing.
Yep. This is the metaverse of Maggie and Perloff, the what ifs and what could have beens. We're asking, what if the draft just went away tomorrow? If the NFL draft disappeared tomorrow, yes, go ahead.
By the way, you think Caleb Williams would go to Chicago in this scenario?
I do not. That's a hard pass. I don't think he'd go to Chicago. I don't think he'd go to Buffalo. I don't think he'd go to Green Bay. I don't even think he might even go to Washington, which is his home city, maybe, because that has the appeal. But, it's not like Washington. You can't guarantee good weather. No one want to go to the Giants or the Jets. Except for Aaron Rodgers, I guess. Okay, metaverse of Maggie and Perloff. What ifs, what could have beens? What if the draft disappeared tomorrow? I'll tell you what the world would look like if the NFL draft disappeared tomorrow. Super teams.
Ooh.
Super teams all over the place, just like the NBA. If you don't like this about the NBA, you would hate this about the NFL because that's what we would have. Super teams. So I think, for example, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase being together in Cincinnati, right? And Joe Burrow, basically stood on a table and banged the table for Jamar Chase, right? Over Penei Sewell. Was that the story?
Okay.
And he knew that they were going to have a great connection because they won the title together at LSU. Imagine Justin Jefferson on that team. I think you get guys who are manipulating where they go. I don't know if it's Dallas, Miami, or the LA teams. It could be anywhere. But guys who want to play together, who know each other, their agents are the same. For all the reasons we get super teams in the NBA, the same thing would happen in the NFL. Obviously, 3 guys on one team of a team of 53 is a little bit different than 3 guys on the same team of a starting 5. But you get what I'm saying.
Right.
I think it's all about super teams, player empowerment, and the players will dictate a lot about who they play with.
Well, why can't that happen now?
Well, because it's the draft. So if the Vikings take Justin Jefferson, then you can't do that.
Right, but on the second the NBA super teams are later guys. They're not draftees.
Right.
So why can't... honestly, I think your point from before, Justin Jefferson's not going to want to share targets with his buddy Jamar Chase. He's not going there for that very reason.
Really? I think they'd want to get together and win together.
Well, they could do that.
Yeah, but the thing is about if you wait till the second contract, then really the stars have to align.
Okay. So you're saying it's easier, but these are young super teams, a little bit different than the NBA model, which is sort of latter part of your career.
Right. Think about LeBron, Bosch, and Wade, right? Think about how many things had to come together at the right time for them to actually...
Right. They were 8 years in, right?
Yeah, that and how many things had to align. And it's just a little bit harder, especially when, listen, you're dangling money out in front of somebody. It's hard to take that and just say, hey, I'm just going to take the bird in the hand, which is kind of like what Carmelo Anthony did.
But so if I get this model straight, that means, for example, Marvin Harrison could pick the best quarterback out there to team up, say go with Justin Herbert and have a super team field.
Or if he wanted to go with Justin Fields, or if he wanted to go with CJ Stroud. So if he knows that he likes catching a passes from C.J. Stroud from their times at Ohio State, he just makes sure that he gets to go to the Texans. I just think the players, even if he'll say, hey, I'll take a little bit less because I want to go with C.J. So again, we're talking about the metaverse of Maggie and Perloff. We do this every week at this time, Thursdays at this time. And this is what ifs and what could have beens in sports. And today we're doing what if the draft just disappeared tomorrow. And Perloff thinks that the glamour teams like the Dallas
Cowboys, the Dolphins, maybe the good weather teams, the LA Rams, not the LA Chargers as much, although they have Harbaugh now who could recruit. Also, one thing, maybe a lot of the college football coaches who know how to do this recruiting game get into the pros more. Now, it hasn't really worked in the past. I think Dan Campbell will do a nice job in this university. He could recruit. I think... listen, the NFL might be listening to us, and they'd be like, anything we can do to get the Dallas Cowboys over that hump to get them in the Super Bowl, we'll take it.
Even if it's punting on like one of the biggest cash cows of the year, which is the draft.
Can I make one caveat too? I'm not saying the Cowboys wouldn't screw this up. They probably would. I mean, they probably would. They could probably not get the draft. Everyone's like, I want to go to Dallas. We have this little thing, the salary cap, that's in our way.
Yeah, so this would be another thing if this is the multiverse and a what if and what could have been, and all of a sudden the draft goes away tomorrow. Another thing besides, I think, super teams, you would have the most dysfunctional locker rooms of all time. If you don't have a super team, it'd be super dysfunctional.
In what sense?
Because all of the young quarterbacks, the rookies, would be the highest paid people in the locker room.
Oh, you're getting rid of the rookie salary cap?
Sure, we're getting rid of the draft. What's the there could be still a salary cap, but you might not get a rookie wage scale now, because how are you going to entice somebody to come to your team if it's not the most money? Let's do that one for a second.
Oh, okay.
So you're just offering money.
Now it's open free agency for the rookies.
Yeah, if that's the way this would go, if the draft disappeared tomorrow.
To be fair, it was like that for a long time.
It was, and it was tough, I think, for some of those younger guys.
I think people come up in football and know the quarterbacks are treated differently. I think they can get used to that. I don't remember it being a huge problem that Sam Bradford made $50 million.
Well, it changed the rule.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge problem in the sense that you got caught in these bad contracts that screwed up your salary cap. But I don't know if it was a huge locker room problem. I'm not sure, because I think every player knows the quarterback is different, right? You learn that from 8th grade on.
Oh, for sure. But I think there's a reason why the NFLPA rank and file really pushed to change that rule.
Well, so the problem with it, and by the way, this is a radical move. The NFLPA rank and file who gets to vote on this, guess what? They're not rookies. They don't care about
that's why they don't want the money all going to the rookies.
Even if they got rid of the draft, I'm not sure they're going to give up on the rookie salary cap, because they want that money to be left over for the old guys.
It's true. It turns out that didn't actually work. They just started cutting guys later in the career.
It did in a sense. I mean, listen, it's still the same pie. They get 48% of revenue. So I think some older guys have gotten more money. Because it used to be crazy. It used to be Jamarcus Russell would take all the money. And then a lot of guys are on veteran minimum. It's a little better. Regardless, though, let's forget the salary cap here. Let me ask you, look at this year's draft, and just real quick, in our metaverse, where does Caleb Williams go?
So if there was no draft, we woke up tomorrow, there was no draft, and guys could just sign like free agents, where would Caleb Williams go? Miami?
Yeah.
You think Dallas? Miami's got better receivers.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like he would be so cool in Dallas. I think the LA Rams with McVay would be interesting too.
Well, that would be good too, because he's just coming from USC. But maybe he does love his hometown. Maybe he'd want to go to Washington, the Commanders.
I think Lincoln Riley would be walking that sideline. If Jerry thought that he could get Caleb Williams, he wants to hire Lincoln Riley anyway. I think that would be the perfect match. Miami is a good one. They might have their pick of players. They'll be like the Miami Hurricanes of 2001.
Yes, exactly. Those guys weren't dumb. They knew exactly what was up.
Yeah.
Great team, great place to play.
But,
no state income tax. Although in Texas, no state income tax either.
The one counter argument is that a lot of guys go for just the most money. So I think at the end of the day, you might go to Cleveland because it's the most money. We saw Deshaun Watson clearly didn't want to live in Cleveland. He said, take that team off my list. And then they paid an ungodly amount of money, and he put them right back on.
That is true. 855-212-4CBS. All right, so there it is, the metaverse for this week, the what ifs and what could have beens in sports. Today we did what if the NFL draft just went away and it became a free market. And as Perloff said, we say this is the metaverse. This has been a topic that's been broached before. It seems very un-American to not have a free market, which is kind of what everything is based on in terms of this country. And yet, weirdly, in sports, we get salaries suppressed. Because how much, if you just had an open, competition and bid for LeBron James, how much is he worth? Not the $50 million he's making.
Yeah.
So,
I think those are two slightly separate issues. But imagine most of us, when we graduate, if you graduate college, you have to go work in Utah. That never happens.
Right.
Say you want to be an accountant. Okay, well, you're headed off to Denver, even though you live in Boston. It's the only thing. It's the only job really where you're assigned a city. Maybe the military does that too.
Yeah, but definitely.
Yeah.
But would you have signed up for some kind of roulette if you were coming out of college? All right, we can guarantee you a job. You're going to get paid well, but you have no control at all where you're going to live.
That happens with some doctor programs, right?
That's true.
To get your
but
money.
You apply to those programs, so
I would have done that. That'd be cool. Remember the old show Northern Exposure, where a doctor had to go to Alaska to pay his debt? I would have signed up for that. If it had paid for medical school, yeah, I'd do that. In fact, my daughter wants to be a doctor, but she loves Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
If
sure.
somebody's offering her to send her to Timbuktu and they want to pay for medical school, I think that's a great idea. Would you have done it?
Well, let's see. The money's so big when we're talking about professional sports, or if you're paying off medical school debt, which is what, $200,000 or something.
Is it? Wow.
That would be such a good option. But if it was just a regular job and I was getting paid like whatever the average salary is in this country, I don't know if I would do that. Because I don't know if I want to leave my family. What if I changed it? What if it was the world?
Yeah, no, there are programs like that too.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd be down with that for sure. I would love to live in another country. At
You
23.
just get roulette, just whatever, wherever the ball lands, you
totally.
go.
I mean, they're not going to send me into a war zone, I would hope.
Well, you don't get to know.
Well, if
You're
I'm
going to
not
be down
in the
there
military,
with Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippopotamus.
Oh, Colombia, I'd love to live there. Hey, Carlos, in the military, you often get assigned to places you don't want to be, right?
Yeah, I was just telling Colton my active duty station was going to be in Alaska, and I had no say in that. The only reason I got out of it is I volunteered for deployment. I was like, I'd rather go overseas than go to Alaska.
You said you'd rather go overseas.
Not that I said. I went.
Wow.
Just to get out of Alaska.
Wait, where'd you end up going?
I did a tour in Iraq.
Yeah, I knew. I wasn't sure if you were in Iraq, if you were in Afghanistan. You would rather go to Iraq than go to Alaska?
I proved it. I went to Iraq instead of Alaska.
No wood. He did. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was like,
what's wrong with Alaska?
Station? No shot.
Alaska's awesome.
thinking?
Alaska's amazing. People pay millions of dollars to go on cruises in Alaska.
Listen, I mean, and coming from Chicago, you think I'd be used to the cold and winter? I was like, I'm not doing Alaska.
Is it because sometimes it's like
You
light
see
all
sunlight,
day?
You see like sunlight. Like it's unnatural over there. Like I don't know how Alaskans live in Alaska.
Well, so yeah, sometimes it's like no sunlight, right? And sometimes it's
like
sunlight all the time.
You see the sunlight like half an hour a day, or otherwise it's like bright at like 9 o'clock at night. Like I couldn't get used to the environment and the daylight versus nightlight over there.
Well, how is the weather in Iraq?
It was hot.
Real sunny.
Kind of the exact opposite.
Yeah, no. But you know what? I was okay with the hot because, you know, how they make it work is I had to get, I moved out of Fort Hood in Texas, and then they moved us to Kuwait, and you kind of adapt to the climate there. Exactly. And then, you went off to Iraq, and you were chilling.
But you actually adapt to Alaska, too. I went to college with a kid from Alaska. It'd be 25 degrees and be wearing shorts. He's like, this isn't cold at all. You adapt over time.
You get
blood
used to
changes.
it, but no, I listen, I was like 18. I'm like, did I really want to go to Alaska? No. There's no, what fun am I going to have over there?
I can't imagine Iraq was a screaming good time.
It had its moments.
Is that right? Oh.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay. You could have, acclimated yourself to Alaska. You go from Chicago, maybe hang out in Buffalo for a little bit. Sun doesn't shine there.
There's only so many igloos and like snowmen I can make. I would have ran out of things to do. I'm pretty sure I eliminated all hope of going to Alaska. They must be very upset with me right now. The tourism board is sending me a strongly worded letter.
I love Alaska. I honestly kind of want
to
go. The one thing about Alaska is if you're a young man, it's 10-to-1 ratio of men to women. That's the famous thing because everyone goes up there to work.
Got it.
I've been. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's
you think you're running into a lot of women in Iraq? I got another thing. I would imagine that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
I imagine the dating life in Iraq has got to be
the ratio's not great over there.
A little suppressed, considering I don't know how much women could leave their house.
You're in active duty. I mean.
Yeah, you're not exactly hitting the bazaar like spending your money.
Yeah, the marketplace, and those women aren't talking to you anyway.
No,
I mean,
they're not allowed to.
Yeah, exactly.
We should do this as a poll. Would you rather be a non-active duty in Alaska or? Well, is it called active duty? Sorry, is there?
Well, yeah. It's active duty regardless. It's just I went on a deployment status. So
what would you do in Alaska? What would the military do? There's a lot of military up there, right?
It depends on your role. Like whatever your job is supposed to be, you just do it there. Like. I when I came into the Army, I was in chemical operations, so like I would have just been babysitting chemical equipment, making sure people return their masks if they're just signing them out. Pretty dull stuff.
It's kind of like administrative.
Yeah, essentially.
You and Sarah Palin up there in Alaska, staring over at Russia, staring them down.
Maybe now you're selling me now.
There we go.
855-212-4CBS. Well, thank you for your service, Carlos. We appreciate that very much.
Thanks for
I mean that full-heartedly. 855-212-4CBS. You made a decision that a lot of people would not make, so thank you for that.
Yeah, a lot of people would have chosen Alaska.
A lot of people would have went to Alaska.
People would have made regrets.
Okay, coming up, lots more to do, including Man, did not see this one coming. One of our big questions out there gets a little bit of a resolution. We've got that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So we're doing the metaverse today. What if there was no draft in the NFL and players could just pick where they want to go? Which brought us to the conversation. If you graduated from college and were assigned a city, would you be down with that? And I'm totally fine with that.
Just a roulette.
Yeah, maybe there's a rhyme or a reason, not just roulette. I guess it is kind of roulette.
Yeah.
You really have no say. And that led us to Carlos is producing with us today. Apparently, when he with the military, chose to go overseas to Iraq instead of serving in Alaska. And I was surprised by that because I think Alaska is pretty cool. I would love to do a Norwegian cruise line through Alaska.
So it doesn't seem dangerous, which Iraq seems like you're really walking into danger.
Well, listen, when it came to deployments, I would have rather chose to go than been voluntold. At the time that I enlisted,
some agency over your life.
Right. I would have had some control. I'm going to go one way or another. I think. So I'd rather let me dictate the terms as opposed to being, stronghold into something that I didn't want to do or, maybe a bad time in my life. At the time I was single and I'm like, all right, listen, let's go do it. Fresh out of basic, let's roll.
Okay. So kind of get it out of the way.
Just knock it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
I haven't been back to deployment since, kind of ducking and dodge. And so maybe I think I made the right choice.
Well, but also, too, your dislike of Alaska stands out.
No, listen.
That was another part.
We had a caller that during the break just confirmed all the reasons why I made the right choice of not going to Alaska.
Really? Because we're on in Alaska, I believe.
Which is why I'm probably getting a lot of... I'm losing fans by the minute.
Oh, no, Carlos. We don't want to lose fans in Alaska, especially because we'd like to go there one day.
I've been to Alaska. It's amazing. I had a great time. Saw a grizzly bear up close, a lot of salmon.
Was it polite to you, the bear?
I had a weird encounter with a grizzly bear. Or it was a brown bear, rather. I've told this story 100 times, right? When you go to Alaska, you go where the salmon are spawning, you go on a bear watching trip and you have a guide. And basically we land at this island and you walk to watch the bears feeding and they don't care about you because they're eating fish. But then we were walking back to the boat and a brown bear was 10 feet in front of us and would not let us pass and was getting a little ornery.
Oh my God.
So my stupid bear guide is just trying to calm the bear down and he's reaching for his bear spray and his hand starts shaking. I'm like, have you ever been up close? Why are you a bear guide? I think he was a total fraud. And but luckily I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time. I was a little bit faster than her, so I was not scared.
Just leave her to get eaten, mauled by a bear? Sure. That's the type of chivalry that exists.
Ex-girlfriend is the key word here.
You don't got to be faster than the bear. You just got to be faster than the person that you're with.
And this wimpy bear guide who had bear spray was reaching I'm like, dude, do you know anything about bears? You live in Alaska. So that's my Alaska experience. But it's a beautiful place.
If you have a bear guide with bear spray, it's kind of like a cop with a gun. You're hoping not to use it.
Right. He had never used it, he said. But this one particular bear would not get out of the way, which meant it's go time. He wanted to spar a little bit.
All the smoke.
Yeah, bears are terrifying.
Yeah.
If you ever go hiking with Andrew Perloff, you will hear him just making a lot of noise because you don't want to surprise a bear. So I'm saying, hey bear, the whole trip long.
Oh my God, that is so annoying.
In Central Park?
What's that?
In Central Park where there are no bears?
Yeah.
Just in case?
This is in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Perloff is walking through the neighborhood, just slowly clapping.
Yeah.
Hey, bear.
You never know. You don't want to sneak up on a mountain lion or a bear.
Yeah.
These are rules to live by.
Thank you.
Hey, hippie.
Cocaine hippopotamus.
Wow, your experience with wildlife is so much more diverse than I had ever thought. Sean is in Oregon, wants to talk about Alaska. Hey, Sean, what's up?
You guys, I've worked here, there, and everywhere, and I don't go to Alaska. It's just not for me. It's some people can do that, but if you like sports, where do you go watch a ball game? If you like going out on a night on the town, where do you do that? I'm just you're not sending me to Columbia. You're not sending me those places. It's a nice place to visit. Every place is a nice place to visit. Don't get me wrong. I love those places. But after a few months, a guy like me and certain people, we're going to get bored.
Okay, wait, hold on. Sean, I'm just doing a quick Google search here. I just said Juneau, Alaska, because it's the
Yeah.
first city I thought of. You can go to the Lucky Pub. They're open soon. Red Dog Saloon and Narrows Bar. You got nightlife?
No thanks. No thanks.
How about the Timberline Bar and Grill?
Those guys will probably rough me up. I'll probably come out with a couple missing teeth.
Hey, Sean, by the way, be on the lookout in your mailbox. We put our thing in the mail for you the other day.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Great to talk with you.
By the way, Juneau's not really Alaska. It's way southern. It's basically Seattle north. It's by far the warmest city there. You can have a good party there. You know, there's a burgeoning, our friend Nate Thompson, longtime NHL player, one of Alaska's proudest athletes, said that they're building new golf courses all the time in Alaska because you can play 24 hours, so rich people come up and play golf in the summer. I mean, it is.
Oh, because it's light out all
It's
summer?
light out all the time. It's paradise up there. Apparently not good enough for Carlos. Alaska's amazing.
It's just funny because I think when people think of Iraq, before you explained it a little further about if you're going to get deployed, you want to do it in a time of your life, when you're not being ripped away from your family, you were single at the time. All that makes so much sense. But I think when most people think of, better quality of life. Yeah. And I've never been to Iraq. I've been to the Middle East.
Yep.
I think most people would pick Alaska.
Yeah, I mean, the golf in Iraq, the sand traps are too big, so you can't avoid the sand.
What a dad joke.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Facts, though. Is there golf in Iraq?
It's all sand trap.
Snow traps.
I don't know.
There's grass traps in Iraq.
Although maybe we're being too narrow-minded here because sometimes they say you don't want to go to so-and-so. It's dangerous. To Chicago, it's dangerous. And you get there and it doesn't feel dangerous.
Chicago and Iraq.
I'm just saying.
But
kind of the same thing.
Yeah, no, Chicago's a wonderful city.
I'm from Chicago. I can say that.
Chicago's awesome, though.
But, sometimes it's like when you're actually there, you don't feel unsafe.
No, you just like anywhere. Honestly, you just got to know where to go. Keep your wits about you. Right. Every place has their rough to the edge neighborhoods.
That's true.
What's funny, you mentioned Colombia is like the hottest tourist place in the world right now.
Yeah, but there's places you can go and there's places you can't go there.
But in the last couple of years, I read a story that they've expanded like crazy. Now tourism has become a huge factor for Colombia. So they've made it they're trying to make everywhere safe.
Everyone goes to Cartagena. That's like the number one place to visit.
Yeah. And Medellin too, even the Coke place.
So my older brother lives in Mexico. So I understand people have this how could you go to Mexico? It's it's so dangerous. It's like, well, I'm not part of a drug cartel. So actually it's not dangerous. It's lovely for me.
Just stay out of that business.
Yeah. As long as you're not pushing drugs, you're going to have a great time. Yeah. Andrew Bogusch is here, Mr. Cocaine Hippo himself.
Hey, guys. So this is why I got a communications degree in college. It's why I work hard most days to have the opportunity to read a sentence like this on national radio. Chiefs superfan, Chiefsaholic, pleaded guilty in federal court yesterday to charges stemming from 11 bank robberies across 7 states. This is his lawyer, Bob Loblaw.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions.
They also want to thank God. They did 110%, and their teammates were great. Chiefsaholic's real name is Xavier Michael Babidar. His actions included the bank robberies, initially pleading not guilty to charges, then removing his ankle bracelet and fleeing authorities for a few months early last year. He was retaken into custody last July. More now from his lawyer, Matthew Merriman.
If I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope.
Where do you want to begin? Because pleading guilty feels like giving up, yet he doesn't give up. And what great thing is he going to do with himself facing 50 years in jail because of this?
I was going to say, if this is part of the reason that he pled guilty is this is what my lawyer sounds like, I'm going to get 100 years in jail just because of how annoying this guy is with these football metaphors. That is unreal. How does this guy think he's going to get hired? ever again.
I mean, he got hired by the Chiefsaholic. I mean, I don't know who his customer base is.
Clearly.
When he's talking, you'd think Chiefsaholic did nothing wrong and is getting 50 years in jail.
Yeah, he's
just
a
because
bad
this guy's
dude,
terrible.
by the way. The Chiefsaholic was awful.
He was terrible. He was robbing banks. He was making people, he was, traumatizing the people who work at the bank, who are in the bank. He was trying to launder the money through casinos. I mean, there's nothing cool about this guy. That wolf mask was stupid. And it's like, but as he got to the vault, it was like the red zone, crashing. What the hell is this guy thinking? Is he trying to get a coaching job, or is he trying to be a lawyer?
Well, the Niners' duty to D.C., so maybe the guilty plea again could mean 50 years in jail.
Give him 75 just for this.
Chiefsaholic must also repay $532,000 to his bank victims. And for some reason, he has to forfeit a signed painting of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, the painting of Mahomes.
How'd he get that?
I don't know if he stole that or maybe that's worth something. So he's handing that in as part of the payback. I'm not sure.
I put it on eBay. I'd like to own the Chiefsaholic signed version of Patrick Mahomes. That'd be awesome.
You're part of the problem. But he was also trying to launder the money. So maybe he was buying artwork to try to launder the money. I don't know. Have you ever thought of how you would launder money?
Yeah, stuff. Sports gambling would be
well, that's what he was doing. He was going to casinos.
Yeah.
That seems to be the number one thought everyone has now, right? You just go play a little bit, make it chips, and take it back out, and it's not different money.
Wasn't Better Call Saul? They were buying like nail salons or something. Wasn't that part of?
And then there's a car wash because there was too much money.
How
about the Ozark with Jason Bateman? The complicated. They had a casino to launder money.
Yeah, but at first he was just putting it behind walls.
Did not work out well.
It did not.
It never does.
Money laundering, by the way.
Meanwhile, then your lawyer's talking about a flea flicker in some kind of ridiculous way, trying to defend your silly action.
Right. And that's how everyone gets caught, right? It's not for the initial crime. Everybody historically has gotten in trouble for the back end, the cover-up.
Well, this is weird because I don't think we hear about bank robberies that much.
Yeah, I would think
really
that the technology would make it really hard to rob a bank. I know, you could do a lot of crimes now because everyone wears masks, so you can hide your face a little bit. You see anybody who looks suspicious wearing a mask, they're probably robbing a bank.
Anyone's still wearing an N95?
Well, yeah. This is my grand jury duty. There were a lot of people wearing masks who committed crimes, so it was harder to get them. But still, bank technology.
I know, but wearing a mask is like old as Billy the Kid.
Right, wearing a medical mask they were afraid of COVID.
Right.
That was a very common theme in grand jury duty. It's like, that's not me. Like, wow. Awfully cautious as you have this drug deal in the corner.
Awfully worried about COVID as you are breaking into a bank vault.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's besides the point. I do. It's amazing me too that how do you rob a bank in the year 2024? It's not 1933 with John Dillinger. Like, how do you expect to get away with it? Except he got away with it a few times.
I mean, 11 banks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he is going to jail now for forever, so he didn't really get away with it.
That's true.
And I don't know how long he was robbing.
He lasted 11 banks.
Yeah, but I don't know what the time frame of the 11 robberies was.
I don't think it was one afternoon.
No. But was it over 3 months? Or was it over 5 years?
I think it was during the season. I think he was still going to games, wasn't he?
Nice.
Feels like more of an off-season thing.
Let's do some Caitlin Clark. Minicamp for bank robbers. Let's do some Caitlin Clark historical housekeeping. 33 points in last night's 108-60 destruction of Minnesota. Between scoring and assisting, Clark accounted for 61 points, one more than all the Golden Gophers. She now has 3,650 career points, one more than Lynette Woodard scored at Kansas from 77 through 81. But back then, women's basketball was not an NCAA official sport.
It's super special. Obviously she's one of the best all times, could certainly score the ball. But I think it just shows, Title IX is not that long ago. 50 years is not that long ago. And I think it just still shows the room that we have to improve, and where women's sports is going is a really great place.
That was Clark.
Imagine all the advancements in women's sports by the time Chiefsaholic gets out of prison.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing for us.
I wonder if anyone will catch Caitlin Clark's record by then.
Iowa head coach Lisa Bluter says passing Woodard is the real record, not when Clark passed Kelsey Plum for the technical NCAA mark a few weeks ago. In the NBA last night, the Lakers stunned the Clippers 116-112 after trailing by 21 early in the fourth. LeBron outscored the Clips by himself in that final period, 19-16. He had 5 threes, also had 4 assists. Those Kansas City Chiefs expected to tag corner L'Jarius Sneed, but he also has permission to find a trade. And the New York Rangers, a 4-1 win over the Blue Jackets. New York has won 11 of 12. They jumped Florida and Boston for the top spot in the Eastern Conference.
Did that guy fight anybody last night?
He did not, as far as I know, especially not early in the game. Matt Rempe.
Yeah, dude was on like basically it was the Chiefsaholic of hockey players. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he had more penalty minutes than ice time.
Yeah, he was the goon.
Can I throw a trade offer for L'Jarius Sneed?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
he's going to be an Eagle?
Yeah, the Eagles want L'Jarius Sneed. They're recruiting him really hard. I guess he had 4 college teammates who are now on the Eagles. A.J. Brown for L'Jarius Sneed. Who says no?
The Chiefs.
Chiefs desperately need a receiver.
Because they haven't won Super Bowls?
No, they cut MVS so they can buy a bigger receiver. What do you think? That trade works out great.
I think it's the Eagles who say no.
I think it's the Eagles who say no. But I don't think it's the Chiefs who say no. But I think that's an interesting solution to all our problems.
I mean,
when I say ours, I mean Philly.
You traded for A.J. Brown and then paid him, and now you're going to flip him? I don't know.
I don't know
how bad is the locker room. Sheesh.
I just feel like you get a receiver easier than you can get a shutdown corner. And the Eagles, their old shutdown corners got old. They so desperately need a cornerback. Your Buffalo Bills are in the same place. There are a lot of contenders who need a cornerback more than they need a wide receiver. Maybe this is a crazy idea. Maybe this young man from Lower Merion, Pennsylvania has gotten over his skis with this trade proposal, but I like it.
Who? You. Yeah. You know what's funny about this? I think L'Jarius Sneed, I would not fault him for a guy who's won 3. He was there for all 3 titles, right? For the Chiefs. Was he there for the first one?
I don't know. 2019 season?
We're checking that. I think he's been there.
He probably was.
Anyway, why not take the biggest payday? You know?
Well,
I guess
it's a tag and trade. So you're going to have to trade something. And how much? And what is A.J. Brown gets $25 million a year? How much is Sneed going to get?
Well, it's 19.8 is the franchise tag number.
Right. So they're about equivalent value. I'm going to throw this out there on the Twitter machine. See if anybody's
He was not there for the first one. Only the last 2. Okay.
I don't know. How good is L'Jarius Sneed? He looks really good in the playoffs this year.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Chiefs are willing to get rid of him. It must mean that he wants a ridiculous amount of money.
Well, and this is the heat check too that you do when you're in a dynasty. I think.
Yeah. When you're winning, you want a paycheck.
Well, no, that for sure. If you're Sneed, if you're Chris Jones and all these guys, but I'm saying even if you're on the Chiefs side of this, don't you realize like, hey, we just drafted Trent McDuffie and he just became an All-Pro in 3 seasons. Like we're good at this. Yeah, but they might trust themselves that they can do this without Sneed.
Yeah, I think Sneed's a little better than McDuffie. And McDuffie's awesome. Isn't Sneed the guy that never got thrown at this year?
And it seems like he never, obviously, doesn't come off the field. I mean, I just think you heat check yourself as part of these dynasties. You're like, we can do it without Tyreek Hill. We can do it without L'Jarius Sneed. We can do it without Chris Jones. But I don't know if they can do it without Chris Jones.
Well, he might be the exception.
He's the guy.
Which is maybe why trading for A.J. Brown doesn't make sense because they're willing to get rid of Sneed and all of that money to give to Chris Jones, not to redistribute it to a guy like A.J. Brown.
The other thing, too, I don't think you need to give up an A.J. Brown to get a L'Jarius Sneed because the Chiefs because you have to pay a L'Jarius Sneed. I don't think his trade value is that high. So maybe get them both. I've been working really hard with Howie Roseman, the GM. He doesn't know it, but I'm working on a plan to get back in contention next year.
Is that an Eagles sweater you're wearing today?
Yeah, Maggie's wearing Eagles green. I'm wearing Eagles green. We look alike for some bizarre reason.
Can you believe that we actually dressed alike today? I mean, it's not just that the color is exactly the same. If you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. It's not just that we are almost the identical shade of green. It's also the identical level of fancy.
Yes.
Like I'm wearing a blouse and Perloff put a collared shirt under a sweater. It looks like we're going to a luncheon.
We never do. And there's no reason. I got nothing today. What do you have after the show?
Absolutely zero.
Well, see, I was not aware of how long you guys have known each other until you guys came here to the morning. So it makes sense to me. It tracks that by now you guys are almost the same person.
Are we starting to look alike?
No, luckily for you, but otherwise, I mean,
fair.
A lot of similarities.
Look at
a lot of
happened.
meshing.
Oh no. Now we're just like we're thinking alike, we're looking alike, we're dressing alike.
Yeah, we definitely come up with a lot of the same ideas. There's no doubt about that.
Maggie's at least kept her loyalty. She's not dropping the Bills and the rest of her teams like you.
That's
softy.
true.
She's always a spine.
Oh, God. You becoming like Bilotti, Bogusch? We're becoming precious about rooting for your own team?
I think I'm staying like Bilotti and most of America who think that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Bilotti, by the way, another sneak attack. He's hiding in the back of the room somewhere just to wait for me to say anything that annoys him. What are you doing back there, buddy?
Training Colton.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm training.
So I thought he was. I keep thinking he's gone, so I'm free to root for whoever I want. But oh no, the team police is here with Pete Bilotti.
No, I'm sitting back there to hide from your green shirts.
I know. It's crazy how much we look alike. 855-212. Thank you, Bogusch. 855-212-4CBS. Coming up, one of the big questions, again, we're going to get it answered right here, right now. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Give me the green light. Give me just one night. I'm ready to go right now. I'm ready to go right now.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, so the NFL Players Association, Perloff, did a survey. 1,700 players answered questions about their teams, the facilities, the nutrition, the food, the trainers, the coach, the owner, just of 11 different categories, and then gave them grades. You and I are going to give our two most, two for you and two for me, most shocking or interesting revelations from all these report cards.
Okay, you go first.
Okay.
I wonder if we'll hit the same ones.
Okay, so the ones, I'm going to go with one serious one and one that's like a little just bizarre. The serious one is the Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the Dallas Cowboys, to name 3 teams. The players felt like they did not have enough physical trainers, like the people who help and work with them one-on-one to try to keep them healthy, like the ones who are tending to their injuries and stuff like that. So think about it. The Ravens, the Bills, the Cowboys, 3 teams with Super Bowl aspirations who have dealt with injuries. In a lot of ways, injuries have hampered their pursuit of a Super Bowl. They don't have enough access to one-on-one treatment to prepare for games and recover from injuries. That to me was stunning. You have a billion-dollar industry, billion-dollar teams, more than $1 billion, that they're worth, and the commodity is the players and their bodies. How could you be lacking in this department is insane to me. So that was the first one, kind of serious, that I found just eye-popping.
Okay. The one that stood out to me and really kind of hit me where I live, the Bucks, they charge you, after 4 years of experience, you can pay $1,750 if you want to opt out of having a roommate in your hotel room prior to games.
Right.
The NFL, I know the NHL still has roommates. Veterans have to room with guys before games. That's awful. Imagine if, I think one of the great things about aging in an industry and getting more mature in your job and getting maybe a higher title is that you don't have to have a roommate on the road. So you're telling me like 8th-year players have to have roommates on the road before a game?
I know that there were 7 teams that don't guarantee you're going to have your own room before games. I always just assumed it was the youngest players who have to room together.
Would you pay $1,700 if you were a veteran and how important sleep is before a game not to have a roommate?
Absolutely. Of course.
So you would pay it?
Oh, definitely. If I'm a veteran, for sure.
That's
I'm a young
lot.
Person,
that's 8 games. That that's $19,000 out of your pocket.
No, yeah,
per season.
No, it's every game because even at home games they stay in a hotel before the game.
Oh my God! Even the home hotel room where you must have a great. Wow, so it's 17 times 1,750. That is crazy to me. I'm sorry. I figured that if I could get my own hotel room and Aaron Donald has to pay $1,800, or sorry, Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah.
You're telling me Mike Evans had to pay $1,800 to sleep alone?
Okay, so my second one that was shocking to me, and this is like the opposite of Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, who only wants to have like 1 million toilets in the new arena.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals, according to this NFL Players Association survey, 50% of the showers don't work. And there's consistent plumbing issues, which means 5 toilets were available for the entire team.
Oh, boy.
5 toilets for the whole team. I mean, when you're talking about practice squad, the roster, all that, I mean, we're talking about 80, 85 people using 5 toilets.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's gross.
Yeah, especially, I mean, there's some big big players.
We're all thinking the same thing. Also, the food apparently sucks.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry,
also, right. What that team that you said, how is their food ranking?
Not
That's
good.
important.
Okay, your last one.
And it's getting a lot of play. Is the Chargers apparently charge a large fee for watching your kids during the game?
Yeah.
Game day daycare services, $75 for the first child and $50 for each additional child. I don't know. It
Might as well
feels
just pay
like
for a babysitter and keep them home.
yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're a player, you should get free daycare. I understand that
Just for the games.
just for day.
Yeah, it's just the game day.
It's just a weird thing. Like, hey, Nick Bosa, give me $75 to watch your kid. I feel like these guys.
Joey
Bosa. Right. It just feels weird to me to actually ask for that money from a guy. Because these are special people. These players in the facility. Hey, I don't know. Justin Herbert doesn't have kids. Give me a player there who has kids. Khalil Mack. He's probably got. He's going to have to dish out $200 to entertain the kids during the game.
I'm telling you, there's more stuff from this survey that's wild. Think about this. The Broncos reported that multiple cars were stolen from the parking lot of the mandated team hotel during training camp. What is going on?
That's weird because I know where that is. I've been there in training camp. That's a nice neighborhood.
Multiple cars stolen. Wow. Okay, coming up, would you pay this quarterback $200 million?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can run the 40 faster than Tom Brady. He got a perfect score on the Wonderlic. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, what exactly is Dak Prescott worth? Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, talking contracts. A website that a lot of people in our industry use to track this stuff is called Spotrac, and they have come up with projections for all the top quarterbacks who could be looking and are looking for new contracts. And Dak Prescott, Perloff, they're projecting 3 years, $180 million. Yes, that's $60 million per year. I think a lot of Cowboy fans hear that and do a collective groan. And even if you like Dak Prescott or love Dak Prescott, coming off of the season you had where Dak was great, he was an MVP candidate, but how you lost to the Packers and the fact that it's a run it back with McCarthy, with Prescott now more expensive. Well, this like lowers his cap hit, but stay with me. Just signing up for more of the same, I think, is what has Cowboy fans likely frustrated by this type of projection.
Okay, Jerry Jones is not a young man. Right. He cannot afford to waste a season by Dak Prescott's current deal kills their salary cap for this year. Kind of just strangles the whole offseason. If they don't extend him, then right off this offseason. The other thing, if they don't extend him, he's in a contract year. Next year, they don't have a quarterback, or they have to pay even more money to Dak Prescott. So what are their options here? You start off this segment by saying, what are they worth? It's not what are they worth as players. It's what are they worth as players in particular situations. And unfortunately for Dallas, this is what Dak Prescott is worth in this situation.
No, I get it. And this is not the first time that Dak has gotten one over on the Joneses. And he has done a spectacular job, helped out with a little bit of good fortune, but he's done a spectacular job negotiating against them. And they're supposed to be the big bad Cowboys, and they're the smartest, and they're the best, and the facilities and everything. Meanwhile, Dak's had him by the you-know-what in 2 straight contract negotiations. But I'm just looking at this through the lens of a Cowboy fan. And we've got a lot of them who listen to this show and people who call the show, and they just they're sick of what they perceive as the status quo. And when Jerry going all in, quote unquote, if that just means re-signing your own players, restructuring Dak and giving him an extension, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, well, no kidding. You don't get credit for that. You get credit for drafting those guys, but I don't think you get credit for re-signing them. They're in your building. Of course you should be re-signing them. That's not, to me, what I think a Cowboy fan wants to hear.
Well, okay, but do they want, say you lose Dak Prescott, what are you next year? I mean, you're not going to be high enough to draft a quarterback.
Right.
You might, and next year's
you're in
quarterback.
Limbo. I get it.
Next year's quarterback. So maybe you get a free agent. Maybe you go like a Derek Carr type. Maybe that is a solution. Maybe, I'll bet you're right. I'll bet you there are a lot of Cowboys fans who'd rather risk that than to bring Dak back. But Jerry, you always say it. There's a lot of pressure to win there and keep a winning record. I think Dak is the safest route to doing this. Do I like paying him $60-something million a year? Of course not. It's totally, the number sounds insane, and he's not that good of a player. But I think they would take a huge hit if he was gone. I think he's a good player.
And I think fans will blame the organization for that. I think the fact that you have painted yourself now into this corner where Dak is your one and only option. Now, they're not the only team that this has happened to, but it's one where it feels particularly frustrating coming off of not just this Packers loss, but the last two 49er losses in the playoffs. And maybe you would even forgive the 49er losses, maybe not the one at home. But, the 49ers 2 years ago were a better team, and that was a close game. But this loss to the Packers feels unforgivable.
I didn't put this Packers loss on Dak. Yeah, he didn't play well, and he had a bad pick. But that was certainly, what happened in that game, the defense just completely imploded. And the offense was doing this weird thing where they were forcing it to CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb couldn't get in the game. You saw Mike McCarthy go over and talk to him. To me, this, and maybe I'm in the minority here, that was not Dak didn't blow that game. That was a whole team effort in that loss.
Well, it was a team effort, but Dak is the one who wears a large share of it. Dan Quinn definitely wears it too, and the defense for sure. And they've been calling each other out and sniping at each other. You got family members getting involved with CeeDee Lamb's family calling out Dak Prescott. All in all, just a tough situation. And the pressure only mounts. It only gets tighter. Jaws only get clenched more. You think that the Cowboys are going to play free and easy and loose? Even if they win 12 games, what do you think is going to happen when they make the playoffs? Everyone's going to be as tightly wound as a rubber band.
I loved it. I put this out after the game. Everyone got so mad at me. Dak was 41 for 60, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks in that game. In another lens, that is like, wow, that's one of the great playoff performances of all time. There's been very few 400-yard, 3 TD picks. So my point was that you can't walk away from that game and say it was just Dak. It was a lot of things went wrong. The San Francisco game, you could probably put more on Dak because he threw a couple of interceptions. But again, one of them hit a guy in the chest. Dak's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. So
he's being paid like a great quarterback.
In today's NFL, I think, as we look at some of these other numbers, that's the bottom line. Good quarterbacks get paid like great quarterbacks. And I'm not sure if there's any choice.
Okay, so again, we're talking about Dak Prescott and the projection of his 3 years, $180 million contract, according to Spotrac, which is a very renowned website that a lot of football people and media people use for these kind of numbers. Okay, Carlos, they did this exercise for 6 other quarterbacks. So we're going to run through them kind of rapid fire, and Perloff will tell you, and I will tell you whether we would do this deal or not do this deal. Are we ready to go? Okay. I'll take a little music. There you go.
There we are.
Okay.
So we'll start with our second year.
By the way, I'm sorry. This song always feels like it was made by like a TV show band, like Saved by the Bell.
Like for a third-rate cop show.
Friends Forever would have made this song. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, let's go with our second contract-eligible players. We touched on it earlier in the show, but we'll revisit Tua Tagovailoa, who is projected by Spotrac to get 4 years at $220 million, which would give him an annual average value of $55 million, which $105 is guaranteed at signing. $165 would be practically guaranteed.
Can I create a time machine so we can go 4 years from now when we look back and like, why on earth did the Dolphins pay Tua all that money? This is not going to work out well because once you sign Tua, there's less money for everybody else. And the Dolphins, that is a team. They better get home field in the playoffs because you saw Tua in the cold this year. It is, there were a lot of, it wasn't Tua's fault. There was injuries all over the field for the Dolphins, but this is going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be hard to build a champion. And if you pay $200 million, you have to.
I think you're doing this because the salaries are only going up and up and up. You have made a commitment to Tua. He actually stayed healthy this year. And again, we talk about Dak Prescott. Who's the other alternative you have coming in? You're not picking high enough. You're not in a rebuild mode. You have these weapons. Tua's a good person to get those guys the football. Mm-hmm. You're right about the cold weather, though, and that's been a lot of Miami quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm sneaking in a second-round quarterback here. I'm doing Eagles taking Jalen Hurts when they had Carson Wentz, Patriots taking Jimmy G when they had Tom Brady. I'm sneaking in a guy here. Maybe if you get Spencer Rattler, he's kind of a hot prospect right now. Do that because I'm starting to think about, you know what? I don't think there's a huge market for Tua on other teams. Like, is it worth to test? Is our system so good that we don't need to pay $200 million like the Niners?
Who's next?
All right, let's go to Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. The projected contract, 6 years, $300 million. So that gave him $50 per year, $105 guaranteed at signing, practically guaranteed $175 million.
You're doing it. You're doing it because he's the future, and he's the guy. He's the next guy in line to be paid. And listen, I'm maybe a little higher on Trevor Lawrence than some other people. He had a terrible year under Urban Meyer. Then he had a great year. Then he had a bad year. We don't know yet what Trevor Lawrence is going to be. There was an uptick in interceptions, but that's the outlier. That's not what he's been through his career. And most of this year he was playing hurt. I'm giving him the money.
Oh, my God. You are, if you're the owner of the Jaguars, you're driving that truck to Trevor Lawrence's door because you're psyched. If he signs a 6-year deal, I know it's probably 6-year deal in the NFL means 3 years probably. Oh, you'd be thrilled to do that deal because you don't want to lose Trevor Lawrence because you don't have any identity otherwise. You got to fill that pool, Maggie. And I think Trevor Lawrence, I disagree that I think everybody kind of likes Trevor Lawrence but blames a team around him for their shortcomings. I think that's a much more common narrative. There are some people point out he is not necessarily performed great in big games, but to me, it's the front office there. So I think you'd be thrilled to have Trevor Lawrence to build around, maybe make some other changes around him to get to the next level.
All right, let's go to Green Bay where Jordan Love's looking to secure the bag. 4 years, $200 million is the proposed contract, $50 annually, $87.5 guaranteed at signing, $150 practically guaranteed.
Feels light, actually. I don't understand why Jordan Love wouldn't be in a similar situation right now to some of the Trevor Lawrences and stuff like that. I guess, listen, he's coming off of a good season that wasn't great, but it was good enough. The trajectory is up. I'm actually surprised they would be able to get away with giving him anything less than $100 million guaranteed.
Well, remember they signed that 2-year sort of bridge deal.
Yeah, they'll rip that up.
So they do have control of him for 2 years because they can tag him the next year. So maybe there's a little bit of leverage there. You know how I feel about Jordan Love. Yeah, you're definitely doing this deal. I think there's so much potential there. And he's a bit of a breath of fresh air attitude-wise. I saw an interview the other day. He was on the Micah Parsons podcast. He's impossible not to like. He's so cool. So I think the Packers love the way the building is. Easy decision. The reason I do think that they have 2 years of control on him so they don't have to pay him right now. That's why maybe you save $20 million or something, but still $200 million over 4 years, Maggie. That's not exactly cheap.
No, it's not cheap, but he's going to be one of the bright stars.
Yeah.
To get away with paying him less than $100 million, you'd run.
But it's it'd be the third highest contract in the history of the NFL, $50 million average. That's not bad.
We're talking all of these are $50 million average, basically. Okay, who's next?
So we'll stay in the division. We'll go to the veteran extensions next. Jared Goff, who would projected to be getting 4 years, $180 million, $45 annually, $86.5 guaranteed at signing, $146.5 practically guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, easy. Because it's not that long. He's 29. You do not want to do anything to disrupt where the Lions are going. You look at the trends, they're going up. It's not really 45. We're saying everybody's 50. 45, that's nothing for a quarterback. That's going to be a bargain. That if they actually sign this deal, 4 years, 180, I'm sure we'll look back and say, oh, that was a pretty good bargain.
Yeah, I would not. This is where I'm drafting the second-round quarterback and trying to develop that person because at some point, that offensive coordinator is going to leave. It didn't happen this time, but at some point he's going to leave. And I would love to know, is this more actually Jared Goff elevating everyone else, or are this the pieces around Jared Goff and this great offensive coordinator elevating Goff?
Yeah, but you're not going to get an arm like Goff's. I mean, there are very few arms like Goff's. So if you get a second-round quarterback, you're going to have to change your offense because that guy can spin it.
Okay, but I have a good arm with Goff, but he's terrible outdoor bad weather quarterback. So what's the good arm actually worth? Anyone can throw in a dome if you've made it to the NFL.
But they look at their schedule next year. 13 of 17 games are in a dome.
But it's not going to be like that for the next 4 years.
It is kind of because Minnesota's in a dome. Chicago's going to go into a dome.
Yeah, in 2030.
It's amazing how he can avoid bad weather. You're right. That is a concern. But still, I think you have all these young weapons. You want to make Jameson Williams a thing, the fast, young wide receiver. You need a Jared Goff to get the ball out to him.
They go to him like they went to him 3 times the whole postseason.
I'm just saying.
Jameson Williams is not as big a part of this offense. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown and doing the Sam Laporta underneath stuff.
The GM came up the other day and said, we are going to make Jameson Williams a big part of this thing next year. And honestly, it's working. The only reason they lost the NFC title game was because Reynolds dropped a pass and Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled the ball. Jared Goff was fine. He did plenty to win that game. So if you're good enough to get to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, why not keep paying that? What's your other option? A second-round pick?
Because I think that Goff is – I think it's a little smoke and mirrors with Goff is what I'm saying. Who's next, Carlos?
All right, let's go down to the South here for Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield, 4 years, $120 million would be the proposed contract. That would give it 30 annually valued. 53 guaranteed at signing, 85 million practically guaranteed for Baker Mayfield.
I mean, I guess this is the middle class in the NFL.
Yeah,
this is what counts, $30 million a year for Baker. I'd do it.
Why is he getting this middle class deal when there's no middle class? Explain that to me, Spot Rack.
Spot Rack. We all have a different way to pronounce it. I think $30 million now for Baker. It seems like a pretty fair deal. It doesn't keep you from signing other things and building a roster. It's not so punitive. It's not Dak Prescott's $60 million that could really hamstring you, depending on how it's structured. I don't mind this. I still think Baker's a good quarterback.
Let me ask you this. If, say, they offer that to Baker, what if the Raiders come in and say, I'll give you 35? Does it make it is there anybody who would pay more for Baker than that? Because there are some teams who've expressed interest in Baker. Heck, even Atlanta, that might be an interesting home for Baker. Washington, I wonder, 30 actually strikes me as a little low. I think I would do this for sure, but I wonder if that's a low enough number to get some competition going.
I would not want to go to the Raiders if I were him.
35?
I don't want to be in that division. I mean, maybe for the money, I guess, but not if I want to win.
Yeah, you get to throw to Devontae Adams, $5 million a year. It's not the worst.
Keep losing to the Chiefs.
You get to Las Vegas, I'm sure he's a big golfer. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Tampa's got good golf, too.
Any more? That's it.
Yeah, no, last one here. Kirk Cousins, still fishing out, looking for a deal. Here's the proposed contract from Spotrac, Spot Rack, whoever you want to call him.
I was kidding. Yeah.
3 years, $100 million, 33 annually, well, 33.33333, so forth. 75 guaranteed at signing, 75 practically guaranteed.
I want to see what's going on with this Achilles. Sorry. I want to see what he's going to look like at 35 coming off an Achilles. I know his game isn't predicated on lightning speed as a pocket passer, but still, forgive me. I want to see what this does to Kirk Cousins.
I mean, we could sit here and debate this all day long. Kirk Cousins being the Vikings quarterback is the most inevitable thing in sports. It's Thanos of sports. He's going to be the Vikings quarterback. I mean, give me any number you want. That is a very, very reasonable number for, I would argue, a top 12 NFL quarterback. You saw what happened when he left last year. They had a really promising year. They were kind of playing even better than their 13-4 year, and then they just fell apart. So to me, that's just fine. $33 million a year in this climate? I think that technology has helped with that Achilles thing. You saw...
Are we sure Aaron Rodgers is going to be awesome off of this?
They're going to be fine. Aaron Rodgers, I think, first of all, Kirk Cousins, much like myself, has no athleticism to lose. He's going to be fine. And I think it's tied into the Justin Jefferson. If you're going to pay Justin Jefferson all this money, you want to make sure you have a quarterback who can get him the ball.
YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, where Andy B says, Jordan Love hasn't done blank. He's had one decent season. So sick of the man love for this guy.
Oh, dude, watch him throw, though.
And there's your man love. Also, coming up tomorrow, really, really excited. We're going to do something fun around here because, Perloff, I got my tarot cards read the other day at a party. And I just didn't really think it was that big of a deal. What'd they tell me? I'm at a crossroads personally, and there's a conversation I need to have with someone that I'm not having. And you guys were like, whoa, you and EJ totally freaked out by my tarot card reading and tarot card readings in general.
Yeah, generally, if you don't believe in the occult's going to get you, Maggie. If you think that there's nothing like basically Ouija boards and witchcraft and none of that stuff matters, then you're going to the wrong tarot card reader because you're communicating with unseen forces that you do not want to mess with.
I just don't even believe in it. I think it's like reading a horoscope, you know?
Again, also true.
It's just, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of there, if you will. So tomorrow, we are having a tarot card reader come into the studio. Yes. Get your gems and your crystals. Roll out your mats.
Oh, that's another thing I believe in. Crystals for sure.
For energy?
Oh my God. It's just science, Maggie.
Like what?
New age science, but
earth
science.
Yeah. So we are having a tarot card reader come into the studio tomorrow. So again, if you want to watch, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. Of course, our incredible CBS Sports Radio affiliates. If you are just listening, you will get the full theater of the mind on this. And you will enjoy it too. Also, the free Odyssey app, Sirius XM channel 158. Okay, coming up, Perloff has something he wants to share with all of us. He won't tell us what it is. So I guess we'll all find out together in just a matter of moments. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Morale booster earlier in the show, Maggie and Perloff, that they're bringing Naked Gun back, and Maggie and Peapolati were really, really excited.
I've been happy all show. I'm like giddy.
Now I think I'm going to bring it down. Going to bring it down with another story that's pretty viral yesterday. Has anyone seen the story about the Willy Wonka inspired event in Scotland?
I did. Oh, what a train wreck.
It is amazing.
I didn't see this at all.
You have to see the video, but they opened an experience in Glasgow where it is basically a Willy Wonka experience. So you get to bring your kids there, and it's supposed to be like Willy Wonka's factory. Apparently, they didn't exactly pull it off.
So you don't have fizzy lifting drink where you get to drink soda that takes you up to the ceiling where you almost get chopped up by a fan?
Basically, they cheaped out as described as pretty much an empty warehouse with a few plastic mushrooms. Someone else described it as a meth lab. People were terrified. The police had to come and break it up or something because something was going wrong. The people got so mad the police had to come and crowd control. The event was canceled. It is the weirdest thing. You see it, Carlos. Like there are these mirrors, and then some creepy guy in a monster costume pops out and yells at the kids.
Wait, when does that happen?
They don't even give you they don't give you chocolate. They gave you one jelly bean.
Yes.
I would riot.
Yeah, and
just over the jelly bean.
So the
jelly bean.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys are Willy Wonka fans or not. I know the last movie was supposed to be pretty good. But if you go to a Willy Wonka experience, you want it to be fun, not terrifying. Apparently, kids were crying left and right.
Well, you remember the movie. So I've only seen the original movie. Forgive me. I haven't seen the other remakes with Johnny Depp and Timothée Chalamet. But there is a scary element of that, which is, again, they almost get caught in the fan when they drink the fizzy lifting drink. Some kid gets basically drowns in a chocolate river.
Augustus Gloop.
Thank you. And then they do that crazy boat ride. And they have the weird videos that are playing as Willy Wonka's going deeper and deeper into his insanity, and all of a sudden they just cut off a chicken's head.
Ooh,
guys, it gets Willy Wonka's super dark.
If you haven't seen the video, maybe this will help, Maggie. You know, the misfit characters that we have here in New York, in Times Square, low budget Elmo.
Oh, they're so scary.
It's this on meth as Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So if you ever happen to come here for vacation and you bring your kids and you go to Times Square, just know that Elmo at some point is just going to remove his head and eat a hot dog right in front of everybody.
Spider-Man's having a smoke.
Yeah, he's just he's on his break and he's not even trying to hide. And just Cookie Monster's just sitting there. There's 2 Marlboros at a time.
They might fight each other too.
Possibly. And they're carrying.
If you're lucky.
They're carrying just their lunch in a plastic bag that you'd get at a CVS or something. What's in there, Elmo? It's I don't know, my smokes and a couple Dutches.
Yeah, but that's Disneyland compared to this Willy Wonka.
Let me read a little more. 2 Oompa Loompas were handing out candy. Each kid got a jelly bean and a lollipop. The adults were told not to touch the candy. They didn't have enough candy for the adults. Videos posted online showed a figure in a cloak and a mask emerging from behind a mirror with children watching on sounding increasingly horrified. Almost every child who saw him ran off crying.
Oh, my goodness.
And they ended up families paid £200 for this.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if they got their money back.
Yeah, it was like the fire festival of the I kept waiting for Ja Rule to pop up behind a curtain at any time.
You never believe what they asked him to do to the Oompa Loompas.
I heard, by the way, the new Wonka movie is supposed to be pretty good with Timothée Chalamet. Anyone heard that?
And it's like it's like an origin story. It goes up until the original movie. Like it's early. It's how he becomes Willy Wonka.
Why do we need another Willy Wonka movie? I'm with Maggie. I was good with Gene Wilder. I didn't even need to see the Johnny Depp.
What's wrong with movies about candy?
Yeah, but this one's dark, man. It's about all the ways that, your ego is going to get you.
Well, all right. But, I mean, still, what's wrong with candy?
I just feel like it's another movie.
When the defense arrest.
It's more of it's another movie that did need to be remade, that's being remade. The fact that there's, 3 new Spider-Man movies every 5 years. Like, can't they come up with something good and new?
We jumped the shark on Bill Wonka about the second remake with Johnny Depp.
Bill Wonka.
So whatever they do now, whatever. It's like Batman. Whatever they do now, it's fine.
Okay, says the people who were just giddy over Naked Gun 44 and a quarter,
different.
starring Liam Neeson.
That's very different.
It's been a long time, right?
30 years in the making.
Yeah, 30 years in the making and a different angle.
He's not a cop this time.
Right.
But
how do you know it's a different angle?
In Times Square.
He's more of a menace than Leslie Nielsen was.
No, Leslie Nielsen was a big time action hero before this.
But he never was like Liam Neeson.
I'll tell you, the funny thing about the Zucker brothers is they took like these famous tough guys and turned them into caricatures, much like Liam. This is a formula they've used many times.
Well, they should have.
Robert Preston was like a hero, and then he became. Was he the one sniffing glue? Yeah, he was sniffing glue in
Airplane, right?
Anyway, I think you guys are.
No, it wasn't.
Lloyd Bridges. That was Lloyd Bridges.
Oh, Lloyd Bridges was sniffing glue. Right. Trust me, nobody in Airplane was doing something that serious.
Yeah, not on the camera.
That's a different kind of documentary. I picked the
wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
I love when he just comes in upside down.
This is great. I agree with you guys. A whole new generation gets to enjoy this kind of movie, which has been a little bit lacking. Although my daughter knows all the scary movies, and those are really funny. And Charlie Sheen somehow always shows up. Those are good if you like scary movies.
Yeah, that's a good franchise. I like scary movies. Or the modern movies, I like that.
I mean, who saw after the first one? You were watching Scary Movie 3, 4,
there are
and 5?
5 of them, yes. Wow. I've seen them all. I've honestly seen all of them with my daughter. There's also parodies of the Twilight movies with the vampires that are outright hysterical. I'm a big parody movie guy. I'm just such a nerd for that.
Did you ever watch Hot Shots Part 2?
Oh,
Great parody movie. I mean, the number one is Spaceballs. I watched that before I ever saw Star Wars, so I didn't even get half the jokes and still thought it was hilarious. Spaceballs is the number one parody.
I mean, I would put Airplane and Naked Gun ahead of Spaceballs.
Okay, but Spaceballs is a parody of one particular movie where
so
Naked Gun is just like spoofing cop movies.
Well, Airplane is the movie Airport, right?
Oh, I've never seen that movie. So
I mean, Airplane came out in 1980. And I see what you're saying. So you're saying one specific movie. You're right. If you're doing one movie.
Like Hot Shots spoofed Highway to the Danger Zone. We're just playing Top Gun.
Top Gun.
I just wonder if Spaceballs falls into this genre of movies that Maggie saw when she was 8 years old that she thought were the greatest thing that ever existed.
No, that movie is still nearly perfect.
I watched it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It still holds up.
Ludicrous speed.
Is it good as as good as Airplane?
It's better. Anything with Rick Moranis.
That's ridiculous.
Oh.
Spaceballs is one of the funniest movies of all time. I mean, Airplane is too. Okay, so maybe it's a little 1A, whatever you want to put it in. Rick Moranis is undefeated. Everything he's in is gold.
He's actually underappreciated, I feel.
Of course he is.
And especially My Blue Heaven. That's an underappreciated movie.
We know
which one?
And Steve Martin. My Blue Heaven.
We bonded over our affinity for this.
Yes.
Yeah. This stuff is you're so hot you can melt all this stuff. That's my favorite line in my
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah. This is good films, guys.
Little Giants, severely underrated.
Amazing movie.
Would you like to try an Old Crunchy? What do you think? I love that.
Bogusch has headlines.
Mobster's trying to go shopping. Come on.
Guys.
Go ahead, Bogusch.
No, you good? Okay.
Fine, go ahead.
Do we finally get an update and an answer to the question that's been...
You guys have no idea how close you were to college football and radio history this morning. Just 2 studios down from us. Something's happened that never happened before. A high school long snapper made his college commitment on national TV and the most important sports radio station in recorded human history. Bradley Schwartz, the firstborn son, next in line for the throne of our beloved Pierre Schwartz, was here on Boomer and Geo and WFAN, CBS Sports Network, in his all-black Letterman's jacket with 4 hats spread on the table in front of him. The choices were Wagner College, LIU, Bizarro Purdue, and Wegmans. That's at least what the 2 logos look like to me from a distance.
Love Wegmans.
So for whom?
P was for Pace.
It was Purdue's airbrush logo. Pace needs better lawyers. And I guess Western Connecticut State also stole the Wegmans logo, but I digress. Which of the 4 won the Bradley Schwartz sweepstakes?
My mom and dad, of course, drive me to camps, drive me to games everywhere. They without them, this process wouldn't even be close to happening. I really appreciate the gas money, the registration to play youth football, and coming to every game. And I really appreciate them for that. With that being said, I'll be playing my next few years of football at Long Island University.
There you go.
Yes. He's got the shirt on underneath.
Pete grunted at 20 seconds of thank yous. Bradley spent roughly 4 minutes mentioning every single person he had ever met before grabbing that LIU hat.
Wait, hold on. It was more coherent than a Nick Sirianni press conference. All right.
My goodness.
But LIU, that's great news for the Sharks. They get Schwartz. It's also great news for Pete because he works as well at LIU. So now he's got a double connection to the Schwartz family. He can see Peter here and there to continue their long-running feud.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. You have a connection to LIU and, of course, your undying love for Schwartz. And now those 2 things get married for eternity.
Just what I wanted. Win the lottery and have another connection to Schwartz.
Now, Pete, not just a connection, Pete is an LIU radio Hall of Famer.
Is that right?
Yes.
Good for you.
I mean, it's a debatable Hall of Fame, but I digress.
Get lost.
And now
you're not in the Hall of Fame.
And now Peter Schwartz and or Bradley Schwartz could join him in that Hall of Fame one day.
Oh, no.
No?
Would Peter Schwartz get there how? By being an awesome sports dad?
Being a spectator?
I'm assuming he's going to work for your station now because he works for every other station.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll start doing play-by-play for that team.
No.
He does do PA for LIU hockey.
That's fine. He can still do that. He's not broadcasting games on my station.
Just around the world, that's Long Island University.
Right. Oh, that's not self-explanatory?
Sorry.
It used to be called CW Post, I think.
Did
Loyola.
LIU have a little tournament run? Or am I imagining this?
They did.
Yeah.
Blackbirds.
Birds.
But those are 2 separate schools that have combined. That was LIU Brooklyn, and the CW Post became one school, and now is LIU, period.
Oh, my
Case
God, I had no
closed.
idea. Smush Parker, LIU, right?
Incorrect. Smush Parker went to Fordham. Thanks very much, friend.
Oh, if anybody knows about the Ramley.
That's really hitting Bogusch.
Who went to LIU? Somebody went to LIU, right? People
But you didn't.
I went to LIU.
But you went to CW Post.
Yeah, but whatever the brand is now, I went there.
No. If somehow like Oxford bought that school, you didn't go to Oxford.
That's right. Damn right I went to Oxford.
You just go trade in the degree. That's all it is. It's an exchange program.
Yeah, as long as the bursar gets paid, that doesn't matter.
There's no upgrading your degree.
What I'm going to do?
That would be amazing. If all of a sudden it's like, hey, guess what? You're getting acquired by Princeton. I'd be like, I quit.
That's actually happened to me. I went to Iona College. Now it's Iona University. So I upgraded.
There you go.
At least that stayed in the family.
It's called the same thing.
Relax.
Wait, I feel like CW Post is more prestigious than LIU.
It's all under the same brand.
Yeah.
It's all under the same brand. They just changed the name. So I am a graduate of LIU, CW Post, whatever you want to call it.
What does your degree say?
CW Post.
That's what your
and the reason I say it's more, it just sounds more prestigious. CW Post. I know nothing of the actual rankings, but CW Post sounds like Carnegie Mellon.
That's actually the guy from Post Cereal.
What?
That's actually the guy from Post Cereal.
Oh, really?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like, I went to CW Post.
Do you get free cereal?
No, because they don't have that name anymore.
LIU sounds more like an expressway. I'm not as in. I think you should go with CW Post.
Wait, they shunned their cereal history to be LIU Brooklyn?
I don't know if they've shunned their history, but that's beyond my pay grade. I just go in there part-time and run a radio station.
You're downgrading your involvement.
Wait. Post cereal, what are they known for the most?
Raisin Bran.
Education, apparently.
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Fantastic cereal.
Yeah, that's not quite the Kellogg School at Northwestern, but okay.
I can use a good Honey Bunches.
Honestly, where else can you get shredded wheat? Pebbles, though. They got Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean,
Breakfast
it's
of
always in the
Champions.
corner of the, there's a big post is still in the corner of those. I love cereal. I'm a big cereal shopper.
too.
Yeah, cereal's great. Another thing me and
No.
Bogusch could bond on.
You guys could be eating honeycombs all the way to San Antonio,
Love
but
a
Perloff doesn't
honeycomb.
want to do it. Here's the thing. When you ate the jars of peanut butter and became in another type of Hall of Fame, I don't know if LIU recognized this
I was
feat.
nominated for the LIU Radio Hall of Fame for that act. Yeah.
An all-time warrior day for Andrew Perloff. Did you eat peanut butter? Peter Pan peanut butter?
No. I think I went Jiffy.
Because you're a gentleman.
Because Peter Pan is also part of the Post.
Well, I remember you probably fell asleep during this little segment, but I watched a long documentary on the history of the 3 peanut butter brands. So that was one of the defining.
Yes, I was taking a nap.
That was one of the defining things in American consumer history is the
really?
wars between Jif, Skippy, and Peter Pan. Peter Pan was a rebel without a cause.
I love Skippy. Skippy will take it to that Peter Pan.
Basically, you guys laugh at this. It was a huge market-changing thing. I think Skippy put sugar in their peanut butter. And everyone's like, whoa, this is delicious. And Jif hit the road. Or vice versa, I can't remember. And then Peter Pan is like, well, what about us?
What about you?
And meanwhile, Maggie ate a jar of jelly, and she went organic.
I did.
That's so weak. You got to go with the good stuff.
You gotta have preservatives, yeah.
Dude, I ate 200 grams of sugar in an hour.
All right.
Guys, my
Yeah, it
blood
wasn't-
sugar, I became a diabetic.
If you had gone with the fake kind, it would have gone 400.
I know, that's what I was trying. I halved it. I ate 200 grams of sugar in an hour. Something weird happened to my body that day. I was like in a spaceship.
It's called poisoning, yeah.
I had blood poisoning.
By the way, I'm totally back on the peanut butter train.
I'm back on the jelly, too.
Down to half a jar of Skippy the other day.
So good.
The faker, the more oils and preservative, the better. Although, I got to be honest.
That was a satisfied
Yeah, I got to be honest. Bogusch, you don't want to be in the car with me after that jar of Skippy. That was a long night when I ate that jar of peanut butter.
Perloff waddled out of here.
Tweet sent from the bathroom. That was
Why are we stopping
the
at
theme
Detroit?
of that night.
Remember when Lamar Jackson weirdly left the field that one day?
And ran into the locker room? Yeah.
That
If
was-
only had that video in your hallway of you scooting in the bathroom.
That was a long night. I was like, this does not feel right.
Now, again, we're not going to do the drive because of you, but I feel like that'd be a simple thing for you to promise is to not chug a jar of peanut butter before
Yeah, I
you
don't
took
think.
off.
But you're on the road. What are you going to eat? Beef jerky and peanut butter. It sounds good.
Is that what you go with?
That's a driving
Beef jerky is
snack?
the ultimate driving snack, right? Every
Yeah.
gas station, the
Combos.
first thing you see is beef jerky. Because there's a lot of salt.
But peanut butter, you can't do it. You can't have a spoon in a jar. You're going to kill somebody. At least one hand on the wheel.
Not yourself.
Yeah. What's the other thing? What are the road snacks? We went over this.
We
before.
did our top 5
Like
of that.
potato chips. You got to eat
Yes.
salty foods on the road. Anyway, I don't even know how we got here.
Like gummy bears, Swedish fish type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
All right. One more plea for help here and for friendship from me. This is Andrew Perloff's new favorite college basketball player.
But it's
and
my
now
team.
America meets him as well.
Connect goes to the basket. Left hand layup is good. Ho hum! Wow. 39 points. How good is he? I'm telling you what, they're throwing everything they got at him, and they can't stop him. He's shooting layups.
His name is Dalton Connect. He tied his career high with 39 points, 27 of which came in the second half. His fourth-ranked Tennessee fought off number 11 Auburn, 92-84. Now, you did tweet that Connect will own, quote, this month.
Yeah. I didn't know about leap year.
He has a whole
You
day.
didn't need to know about a leap year because yesterday was still February and always will be February. It's the 28th. So he owned February. What about March?
So the thing about Dalton Connect, so I've listened to so many of his highlights because every time Tennessee plays, he obviously makes the highlights. And when you listen to sports updates and stuff like that, this whole time I thought it was spelled Connect.
Yeah.
It's not.
Nope.
Knech.
He's going to make it's going to be the best NBA draft period because people are going to try not comparing him to other white players. So, yeah. Well, actually, not really because he's pretty athletic too. So anyway, it's gonna be like
he's Wally Zerbiak.
Basically, people are gonna say he's an athletic Kyle Korver or a slightly longer Gordon Hayward.
Right, a
I've
thinner
already worked
Luka
on
Doncic.
Yeah, but he is going to be a big deal in March. I'm just telling you right now, that guy. And
Since
I discovered
February.
I discovered him last night. I know. I had my calendar off. Oh my God! Last night he'd never had a game like that. That was crazy. That dude. Give me him anytime.
I think he scored 20 of 23 points at one point in the second half as they were rallying.
Yeah, against Auburn, who's a really, really good team too. Yeah. By the way, it is officially March tomorrow. Who's in on the crash course on college basketball? Pete, I'm picking 5 teams, and you cannot stop me.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
None
I'm
of them
allowed
are
to
the
pick new
Pistons.
college teams?
Sure.
Okay, because yeah, my college, Dartmouth, is not going to be in the tournament.
Okay, that's fine.
Wow.
Have we broken you?
That was surprisingly simple.
No, because everyone does it.
Right.
Fair point.
A little bit more socially acceptable.
Everyone does
Once you fill out your bracket, you're allowed to root for those teams.
That is true.
I love all the. Oh, no, we'll get into that tomorrow.
Okay.
Good tease.
About college basketball.
By the way,
my opinions on it.
Tarot card reader coming into the studio tomorrow.
I'm
out. Everyone's so scared of this woman. Guys, it's fake. It's not anything. It's just like, it's a horoscope.
It's convenient.
It has cards. It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to play 3-card Monty?
Have that globe thing too?
A crystal ball?
Yeah.
We'll see. Guys, it's not witchcraft. It's a deck of cards.
She has a death card in there.
Wait, so you believe in witchcraft, but you just don't believe in a deck of cards?
I do not believe this falls under witchcraft.
So, okay, so you will admit that there are dark forces at work.
No, I don't believe that.
Okay, so if she pulls out the death card on you, what do you say?
That means something in my life is coming to an end. Not my life. Just it's a symbol,
But
guys.
maybe.
Don't be so literal.
It means change. It's transition.
I love that. A transition.
Go to Alaska.
I was going to say. Spin the roulette wheel. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, coming up, we have the single worst idea we've ever heard. That comes your way next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The bad idea of the week.
Well, Perloff, we've heard some real doozies. This one comes to us from college basketball.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
So Joe Lunardi, the bracketologist who only appears in March for some reason. We don't know what he does the other 11 months.
I'm sure he's very busy.
He has an idea. He put a column out on ESPN that they should expand the NCAA tournament to 80 teams. Now, he yelled at people for not reading it carefully before criticizing it, but I have no interest. You can't go 80, Maggie. 68 is too many already.
So he's saying, we know the format of the current first four works, so why not have additional play-in games so 12 teams can be added to the mix? Even if 8 of those new slots end up going to what I've often called middling majors, that still leaves 4 new spots for truly deserving mid-majors. Everybody wins. So he just wants to expand the first 4. So you essentially just want, more games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Make that a whole day event.
Right,
too.
but that's sort of a detail. You're expanding the tournament.
Yep,
You're
you
going
are.
to 80 teams, and as Joe Lunardi points out, there's going to be a lot of forces to push it to 96. I think 96 is the next round number. So basically, everybody's in the playoffs. So what are you doing with the regular season?
This is one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it things for me. I don't see why we need more. Even the first 4, it's like fine. It's an appetizer. I don't know if the ratings are even really great on those games, but I like watching them. 2 double headers back to back. But I don't think we need anything. There's enough basketball on in this month. I think we all get our fix.
Yeah. I have to be a little conflicted this because my Villanova Wildcats are right up. They just missed the tournament according to projections right now. So there is a little bit of argument, and Lunardi makes his point. There's way more parity. We saw Florida Atlantic, Miami, San Diego State, and UConn in the Final Four.
Yep.
So it's not like the teams at the bottom don't have a chance. I mean, Gonzaga might miss a tournament this year. If they make it, they're going to be super dangerous. So it's one of those things. I do understand there's more parity. You could make that argument. But still, if you can't earn your way into 68, then what are we doing here?
Well, and I like how the tournament is set up where if you win your conference tournament, you get in too. So that's sort of like put this other wild card element into it, so to speak, where if you are a 12 or 13 win team and you just happen to get hot during a tournament, you also get in and you get to ride the hot hand. So I just, why do we always have to keep changing it? The same thing, college football playoff. We haven't even had 12 teams. Now we have 14 in 2026. I sound like a...
Yeah, I don't want to be that old. Why do we keep having to change? Usually in college sports, change is good.
Do you think this change has been good for men's basketball?
Not for men's basketball, but I think NIL and expanding the playoffs is good for college football. I think the ratings are going to go up. I think the big thing for me, men's college basketball is a one and done. Basically, that we don't get to know any of the players.
Yeah,
I think that's
tell
the biggest
because
problem.
Caitlin Clark has become really popular on the women's side, and there are stars on the women's side because they actually stick around.
Exactly. So, if you have 80 teams, it's going to have the same problem where the best players are just not going to be there long enough.
Do you think we'll at all get more guys staying in college with NIL or no?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we already have seen Armando Bacot. So I went back to North Carolina. I'm sure that it was NIL inspired. Otherwise, and a lot of quarterbacks stayed.
So that should help.
That should help. But if you're a top 10 pick, you're not staying. If you're a real superstar, I don't think you're staying for your sophomore year. Also, the NBA is like, wait, what's wrong with that guy? He's staying to be his sophomore year.
If you're 20,
he's an old man.
If you're 22, forget it. You can't get drafted to the NBA. You're too old. Okay, so tomorrow, again, programming note, we're going to have a tarot card reader in the studio. I guess she's going to try to convince me that this is real. I don't think so. I think it's just fun. It's silly. Perloff and EJ are like afraid of this woman.
I'm not afraid of this woman. I'm afraid of the dark forces she's accessing.
What do you think she's going to come in and like plants are going to be wilting behind her? She's not a witch.
Are you sure about that? Have you actually looked at her bio?
Thank you to Carlos Ortiz. Thank you to Colton Gesser. Thank you, guys. Great job. Pete Pilates back there. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan and Andrew Bogusch, the Weedos, the coffee drinkers, the callers. Great job.